so you got this guy right here. He's evolving into that guy on the right hand side because he says, you know what, man, I can't be this guy right here, and the only way that I am this guy is because of the philosophy that I'm currently embracing. That's helping me get these results in my life. I done got the yes. I done got the results where I am now a legal slave. How am I a legal slave? Because the 13th Amendment says so, and that's the Constitution, the law of the land, and that's what this reads right here: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except for as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist in the United States or any other place subject to their jurisdiction. So then the only way that you can be a slave in the United States of America, right?
That's your own choice to be a slave.
Right. So now it's saying that as long as I'm getting convicted of crimes, now guess what? Those crimes can serve as punishment, and now I am a legal slave. The punishment of me getting convicted of a crime is me becoming a legal slave. Right. So when they abolished slavery in 1865, that's the 13th Amendment. Yeah. And that's what people really don't read. So when they hear and say, they say, man, you know what? Hey, slavery is abolished. It's like, no, it's not. If it's abolished, that means there's no way slavery can exist. But in the 13th Amendment, it says that the way that it can still exist is through incarceration, and it serves as punishment.
Well, that's where you had all the rock breakers and stuff.
Right. The chain gangs and things like that. And it was still able to get, things accomplished.
License plate.
Absolutely. Well, you got to take it to a whole different level now, and it's just saying that the different space that we are at now is that, now you got bigger companies targeting the penitentiaries now. You got the Walmart, you got Target, you got Hewlett Packard, you got Honda, and they getting work done inside of the prisons, right? Because they don't have to pay for sick time. They don't have to pay for vacation time. They don't have to worry about none of that. They don't have to pay for medical benefits or anything.
Was it
because the guys are legal slaves.
Or early 90s where they started really pushing, putting more people into the penitentiary just for that?
Yeah, so the prison population has expanded. It's busting out the seams in America.
Crimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with the drug epidemic, the drug epidemic locked up a lot of people. Right. Rather it was for drugs or something surrounding drugs. Violence and things like that. It locked up a lot of people.
Like I love ID. Investigating, discovering, and I sit back and I look at these people that have killed people, and they might get like 7 years.
Before I see the person that killed on for the 48 hours, dude killed the guy. He knew he did it. And made it to doing it. Only got 4 years. And this is the second time he done killed a person. Back to back.
Right.
As soon as he got out, killed another person.
And it depends. Yeah, no doubt. It depends on what it falls up under.
Yeah. Killing a person was like, come on.
Yeah.
Where's the rehab? Where's the rehabilitation? Where's the changing the mindset? Because you haven't. Because if you did, he wouldn't have came out and did the same thing over and over.
Right. Well, then that's what it is, and that's the issue with rehabilitation. But in Ohio is one of the only states. It's one of the few states in the United States of America that even has rehabilitation in its actual name. So Ohio is Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections, whereas you see other states, they are just Department of Corrections. They're not Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections, right? So it's a lot of DOCs and not ODRCs, right? Yes, DOCs means Department of Corrections, right? And not Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. But in Ohio, you got like a lot of different programming that is going on in Ohio. So when I was doing my time, that's how I was able to graduate from college and get into business management and get into administrative office technology. Absolutely right.
Have you seen this?
Subject of citizenship. Statement of who is a citizen or who isn't.
In that space, this undefined term citizen
Oh, yeah.
of America, their citizens.
Yep.
What's the definition? According to the Constitution,
Let me see, is it new?
Yeah.
it's gonna be on Netflix.
So yeah, but that's something that I had digested that early when I was incarcerated, and that's what made me say to myself, I gotta go and get it. What you see in this image right here is just a caricature of myself. It's actually me.
That's what I was
Like,
wondering.
yeah, it's actually me. So then this is actually my number that I did the 10 years on and everything. Right? Yeah, so I did 10 years on this number, 355519. It's just me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you don't let it define the person that you are becoming.
Right, yeah, but I let people know that this is a part of my history, you know, and this is what made me into who I am today. Because if I didn't fail as I failed back then I wouldn't be able to be successful as I am now. I wouldn't be so impactful with people right now if I didn't go through what I went through back then. So then that's what this image is all about. And when you see this on the bottom, it says, turn the penitentiary on his head, stand the community on his feet. And that's what it's saying. And we do that by turning the mentality on his head that gets people incarcerated and standing a mentality that gets people
community,
right.
You know, and actually work to help each other instead of work to fight against each other.
Absolutely.
Try to get better than the next person. You know,
Right.
let's all try to grow together.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not like it's a whole bunch of different worlds, man. We got one world, and we all got to stay in it, right? So for some reason, people have it set in their minds that, you know, you can be doing bad all the way over here in this part of the world, and my part of the world is going to be good, right? If it's pollution over there, then that pollution over there is going to seep over here. So what would be key if I am thinking on a level of, man, I want to get the job done, I will go over there and make sure there's no pollution over there as well. Because I understand that pollution is going to spill over to me. Like, so me going over there helping out that pollution is actually helping out myself, right? And people don't understand that. Right. They really do be thinking like, I can just stay over here and I'll be okay.
Yeah, they come.
And you won't. I mean, and this goes with different like neighborhoods or whatever. It's like you got more affluent neighborhoods versus the more poverty-stricken neighborhoods, and the more affluent neighborhoods might feel like, oh, well, we are good because we are more affluent.
For them too.
Right, absolutely. But the thing about it is that it's only a matter of time before that poverty-stricken neighborhood will impact that affluent neighborhood. And once they start to understand that, now it's like the best thing that we can do is strengthen the poverty-stricken neighborhoods, right?
See a lot of that going on in Detroit now.
Right.
They're going around, they're doing the community gardens, and they're
Right.
you know, getting people in the community involved with, you know, just trying to clean up Detroit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a powerful thing if you
Right.
actually watch
Right.
it and what they're doing. It's they're trying to transform Detroit back to where it used to be.
That's what it is. So how do we get it done? So when I'm teaching parenting classes, that's the same ideology that I have. I want you to have all of the information that you need to have so you can be the best parent that you can possibly be. Why? Because there's also some selfish reasons in here too as well, if you can call it that. Because when your children come in contact with my children, I want it to be a conversation and not a confrontation. Right. Because you raised them in love, right? Because your children are going to be in the same world as my children are in. And if you don't have the information, the tools to be able to really raise them in the right way, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to raise them in a way that's going to produce an individual who hates or is destructive, looking to tear down and things like that. And my children can be right in their paths when they become adults. So then that's why I be passionate. That's why I'm so committed, because it's like, man, I want you to have everything that you need to the best of my ability, right? That's why I package my message up and deliver these words, labor these messages as best as I can, you know, so you can get an understanding, so it can move the needle, right? So it can stick. Because if it sticks, then guess what? Man, I'm going to be good, because now, who knows? 20 years from now, 30 years from now, your children is in college, my children is in college, and it'll be a conversation and not a confrontation. right? Because they ain't coming to my children trying to figure out what they can get from them. They looking at what they can bring to them. And guess what my children is doing with them? They looking at not what they can get from them, but what they can bring to them. So both people are practicing reciprocity. So then that's the game changer. You see what I'm saying? It's a harmonious type of relationship because you are dealing with individuals who are whole, not individuals who are broken, right? We be adults and we be broken because of the way that we've been raised. The way that we move is out of a place of brokenness.
And some of that brokenness that we haven't let go. Like
Absolutely.
carrying on into our adulthood, until we have counseling or closure from it, it will never cease to exist. It's
No doubt.
in the back of our head.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. And that's what it is. So that's what it is. That's what it is. It's like we hold on to stuff. Like people don't try stuff. Why they don't try stuff? Because when they had failed when they were young, they were made to feel less than. They were minimized by the people that were around them. So what it did is it made them in their mind say, man, I'm just going to stay safe. I'm not about to try nothing because if I fail, somebody is going to make fun of me. Somebody is going to laugh at me. They're not going to encourage me. They're not going to say, pick your head up. You can try it again. So because I didn't get told that, I am living restricted while I am an adult because of the way that I was raised.
Right. I get that totally.
People don't even try nothing. People don't even step out, right?
Step out of their comfort zone.
They don't step out of no comfort zone because they are afraid. That's crazy, man.
Trying to expand people's minds too.
That stuff is no joke, man.
I don't know how many people I told to come. Even
Absolutely.
If you don't have kids, I think this is a great class to.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah, it is. The positive outlook on everything. Yeah.
But people are afraid to say that they don't know.
Right.
How many people are afraid to say that they don't know? They just say, man, you know what? I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. People will act like they know.
Keep trying to learn. Always learn. Every day is a new experience.
Listen, people will act like they know. Why? Because they don't want to be vulnerable. Because if they are vulnerable, they feel like that they will be taken advantage of. They feel like that their vulnerability will be exploited by somebody else because that's the environments that they was raised up in. If you don't know, then I'm going to take advantage of what you don't know. You don't know the price? I'm going to go ahead and set the price real high since you don't know the price, right? Because you don't know. I'm going to take advantage of you. You don't know how much it costs to fix that car? I'm going to charge this much to fix the car, right? Even though it's not that much, but I'm going to tell you that so I can make more. I'm going to take advantage of what you don't know. So because people take advantage of people not knowing, you got people are afraid to admit that they don't know. So what do? They just act like they know. And when you act like you know, do you really know? You don't know, and you're going to pay the consequences of not knowing. People think ignorance is bliss. No, it's not. Right? You're going to pay the consequences for what you don't know, regardless. People don't know to start up a checking account. You pay the consequences when you're paying fees to cash your own check. You don't know, it ain't like you're going to be absorbed from the consequences. You still going to suffer the consequences.
See, I didn't know that. Like, when I got a banking account or whatever, I didn't realize that if I didn't have direct deposit or whatever, I would have to pay all those fees.
Right.
But I didn't know that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So when I got direct deposit, I didn't have to really worry about paying those fees.
No doubt. No doubt. And ain't nobody going to say, man, hey, you know what? Hey, because she doesn't know, because Shandy doesn't know, guess what? We ain't going to charge you the fees. No, it's wolves out there that's going to be like, we going to get that up out her pockets for what she don't know. That's why poverty is because it's a lack of information on how to function in society. If people had the information on how to function, then guess what? It would be totally different. And then you wouldn't have people selling dope and murdering each other for money because there's all different types of ways to make money. You don't have to sell dope or murder people to make money. Money is something out there to be made. It's all different types of ways to make money. But but when you got when you in poverty, it's like. But the reason why you in poverty is why? Because of the mind. If you got an impoverished mind, my brothers, my sister, man, you will always be broke. I don't care how much money you get, you will find a way to be broke. If your mind is impoverished, you will find a way to be broke. You can get $1 million, you can get $2-3 million. Why you see the people who win the lottery and they like, we won the lottery, and they was in poverty before then? If they didn't become a millionaire in the mind, then they will soon find where they need to be, which is broke. So meaning you can get that $1 million, and if you don't become a millionaire, then you will be broke again. Because you will find a way.
There's a lot of responsibilities that come with that.
Ain't no doubt. You will find a way. And that's what you see. You see a lot of times people get all that money and they kill them. They end up getting killed, dying.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. Because they wasn't no millionaire in the mind. So.
And less happiness too, because they're not getting the things of life.
Ooh, look at the good brother, man. Oh, good brother right there, man. What's going on, man?
Sorry, y'all.
How you doing, man?
Lawyer ran late.
Good stuff, man. Good to have you in here. You can sign the sign-in sheet over there.
All right.
Yeah, but that's what it's all about, fellas. So then what are we doing with our children? We are making sure that what? We are putting the right thing in their heads, in their minds, so that they can get the best out of life. That's the only way. That's our responsibility. Our responsibility is to develop our children. Who else's responsibility is it? Are we going to leave it to somebody else? If we leave it to somebody else, are they going to have our children's best interest at hand? Do we want to leave it up to that? Because are they really going to care about our children like we do? That's our flesh. That's our blood. They come from us. They've been assigned to us. All of the people trying to have children in the world, they cannot have children. There's a lot of people that cannot have children in the world. And they try, they get all kind of different procedures, and it still isn't working, and they can't have children. But we have been fortunate enough to be able to have children. It is a reason why we have our children.
See, one thing.
It's a reason.
But I sit back and I look at people that end up having children and they just abandon their children. You know what I'm saying? They get abortions, all that stuff.
Right. Because they don't understand. Lack of understanding. So if you don't understand, it's going to be difficult to go at life in a productive, prosperous way because you don't understand. The people who leave their children and say, man, I got other things to do. I'm going to go ahead and kick it, man. I'd rather do other things. They don't understand. It's just a lack of understanding. Because once we understand, that's what can change the way that we do things. If you started to understand and say, man, the way that I'm going to become the best me is if I be connected with my children, because my children are going to help me develop into the individual that I need to be. Right?
Sure.
Not only are they going to help me develop into the individual that I need to be, and the way that they help me develop into the individual that I need to be is by me intentionally developing them into the individual that they need to be. So then that means that they are going to challenge me in ways that is parallel to none. Raising a child is no joke. How you doing, my good sister?
How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. We rocking and rolling. You can sign in over there.
This is my niece, Ike.
Hey, niece Ike, what's going on? Good to have you here, family. No doubt.
Shoot, I understand.
Yeah, we charged all the way up here.
That's good. I love the energy.
I'm telling you, we getting revved up. They got me going. I say, jeez.
Call it tone clear.
Okay, cool. No doubt. Absolutely. So, yeah, but this is what it's about, y'all. This is what it's about. Like our children help us develop because of the amount of focused energy that it takes to develop them.
Yeah.
Like they challenging.
It makes you look at things way different.
Heck yeah.
And it's like your whole mindset where you thought you had it this way, it's like, that's it. Like,
Ain't no doubt.
you rearrange your whole
They feel it.
Ain't no doubt. But that's the beauty in it. That's the beauty in it. So when you embrace this responsibility of being a father, being a mother, and you take it on full-fledged, it's going to make you into a better individual. It's going to make you more into the individual that you was designed to be. And when you are fitting your design down here on this earth, your experience will be different than those who are not fitting their design. What do I mean? That means that you are fitting the design that you were supposed to be in, not some other design. Somebody else's idea of who you should have been or who you are. You know how many people is living up to what other people say that they were? People will be like, man, you a gangster, and people live up to that. And they really hold on to guns, and don't nobody really want war. War is not comfortable.
Ain't nothing but destruction.
But people will say it because they've been conditioned to say that. So that's what it is. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we are, man, taking this responsibility on to the best of our ability. And I always say, how can we take it on to the best of our ability if we ain't putting in the work to be able to get that done? This is what these classes is about.
I got to tell you, man, my own experience with my sister dealing with my daughter. Because hopefully, eventually, my goal is to have her with me. You know, just when her head is ready, you know, make the choice, not make her, like you said.
Right, no doubt.
But
no doubt, because you can't make nobody do anything. That's the thing.
So I tell you, my daughter's a strong-minded individual, right? Gone in a lot of ways, right? So I try to tell my sister, I'm telling you, bro, thank you. The energy of focusing my energy and being more intentional and watching her, I say, under fire. I mean, you've helped me so much. I mean, I'm there, like you said, but now I'm more intentional with it.
No doubt.
So when I'm under the fire, I stop and I breathe. And I talk about the logical response. This is in the vocabulary I've thrown in, logical response to my sister, to her. And what do you think? You know, what do you think's going to happen? What if you care about other people, whatever, and it is working?
Right.
I said to get somebody to do something because they want to do it, you know, true leadership, etc., etc. But understanding is getting her to understand her anger, my daughter's anger, so it ain't no conflict all the time.
Right.
Because if she come home from school and it's automatic conflict, because of whatever day, and then it's like I'm trying to get my sister to understand that. Okay, regardless, we got to throw everything we learned out the window.
Right, no doubt, no doubt.
If we're going to get there, you got to throw the ego away.
Yep.
Because I said, she watching me how I've been doing.
Right.
I said, have you seen me hollering? Even in the
Wow.
apartment, you know, I'm telling you, this working, man.
This stuff ain't no joke.
It ain't no joke. I ain't got to holler. Like I said,
Wow.
I've been there, but now since I'm doing, I put it, like you said, I'm more intentional with it. I don't make no excuse to.
It's making you aware. It's making you more aware
It's working, bro.
of what you're doing.
That's
what the understanding. Absolutely.
Autopilot.
No doubt.
I ain't on autopilot.
No doubt. When you're on autopilot, what are we gonna do as human beings? We're gonna go towards the negative by nature. Why? Because human beings are negative by nature. You turn on the news, what you gonna see? Negative, negative, negative. You know, hey, such and such got shot over here on the east side, and then it goes over here. Man, the house just burned down. You know, and then it go on to the next story, right? Hey, it's a kidnapping over here. It's negative, negative, negative. You know, it's like people just want to hear the negative. They gravitate towards the negatives. That's just human nature.
One of the big things I learned last night at RU was separating your views from worldly ideas. You know, and that's what the world is all about. It's like feeding the negativity.
Right. What's wrong with the situation?
Right.
Yeah. Don't tell me what's
Focus on
right.
the positive.
Tell me what's wrong. Right?
That's separating yourself
Right.
from the worldly ideas.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Stuff be going good and be like, oh, something got to be wrong. Something about to be wrong. You know, it's like, dang, just take the good, right? Like, and just enjoy it, embrace it, you know? So that's a beautiful thing. But this is what it's all about, is just making sure that our children, they have the right things that's circulating inside of their heads. And it's a beauty just raising the children. I'm working with my son on a continuous basis as well as my daughter. But I just had a epiphany with my son. I told him, I've been telling him about the word. And I said, man, you know what? Hey, man, be impeccable with your word, man. Say what you want. So often what happens is that we just say anything, and we'll say things that we don't want. And then if we say things that we don't want, I'm telling him that you're going to get what you say. So definitely, you might not get it, but it's a chance that you'll get it. But I say, man, don't add to it, so say what you want. Don't say things that you don't want. And he's been able to see it in real time. It's been a beautiful thing. A couple of weeks ago, well, not a couple of weeks ago, a couple months ago, when we was watching the Browns and the Ravens, he says, man, at the beginning of the game, this is what he says. He says, man, Dad, I just hope that at the end of the game, it's not their kicker kicking the ball for the game-winning field goal, or it's our kicker kicking the ball for the game-winning field goal, because I know our kicker probably going to miss it, and their kicker probably going to make it. And I told him then, I said, son, listen, man, hey, don't be saying that stuff. Because I'm serious about these Browns, and I'm like, man, bruh, like, man, you about to get us a loss, man. Like, we ain't going to be thinking.
Though, so you can't get mad at him. He thought about it literally to understand what you wanted him to do, and he did it.
Right.
So he understood it and explained to you. So you can't get mad either. He said it.
Right.
He did what he said.
No, absolutely. But this is where it was at. This is where it was. I say, hold up. I say, man, you can think it, but don't speak it, right? Because when you speak it and put it out there into the air, it's gonna come to pass.
So even if he did, he'd be like, well, you told me to say what I mean what to say, basically. But if it manifests, I mean,
right?
How am I supposed to relate? And I can understand you can even put that even with parenting if you're not doing what you're supposed to and saying what you mean, and they're not understanding what you're doing. It's
right.
Saying that
Right.
But
I see what you're saying, but I'm just, and this is just something that I hold on to personally. So I'm trying to give him the stuff that I'm holding on to. So it's literally times where I might think something and I don't say it, right? And if it happens, it happens, but I definitely don't want to increase the chances of it happening by me actually verbalizing what I'm thinking. So I just be keeping it shut, right? And sometimes I even say the opposite, or I'll just be quiet. I don't want to let it come out of my mouth, right? So then what happened was this. At the end of the game, guess what happened? 2 seconds left, Justin Tucker kicks the field goal from 50-something yards after we then came back and did what we did, and they won the game. And when I looked at him, that brother was broke up. He was crying big tears. He was like, I'm talking about he was hysterical. I'm like, man, I didn't even want to let him know at that time, son, I told you your word is powerful, right? Because I'm built different with the Browns. I could take these losses. We've been losing with the Browns for a while now, right? So I'm built a bit different, but him, he's just fresh into this stuff. And he was really on the edge of his seat. He was fiddling all around, fidgety and stuff. He was and then when he kicked that field goal, that brother, man, he took it to another level. And then the next day, I said, son, after he pulled himself together, I say, son, remember what you said at the beginning of the game? I said, what you said came to pass. Your word is powerful. Make sure that when you put your word out there, make sure you putting out the right stuff that you want to see come back. But if you don't want to see that, then don't put it out there. I just told him that, right? That was the one example. Another example is the brother. He was he said, Dad, he was looking for his AirPods. No lie. He looking for his AirPods, right? And he couldn't find them. He had the tracker on there. He says AirPods is right there. And they in the house somewhere. And he said, I can't find them. And I said, man, I don't know where the AirPods is at. So then I go out. I said, man, I'm about to go to the gym. And I tell him, I said, son, listen, man, I'm about to go to the gym. And he tells me on the playing around side, he says, Dad, hey, man, when you find them at the gym, if you find the AirPods at the gym, man, go ahead and pick them up for me. And I'm like, man, yeah, right, because you ain't even go to the gym. Why would they be at the gym? And I'm like, yeah, right. So when I go to the gym, I'm getting on the treadmill, I'm taking off my coat, right? And I'm about to put my stuff in my coat pocket. Man, them AirPods was in my coat pocket. I said, what the heck is this? These is his AirPods. So I must have seen him on the floor or something, and I probably was about to step on him. And I said, man, let me pick up these dang AirPods before I step on them, because how else would they get into my coat pocket? But the thing about it is, where did I find the AirPods at? at the gym. And when I told the brother, I said, man, I found the AirPods at the gym in my coat pocket. And he said, man, that's crazy. He says, that's crazy. He's like, that's just like the dang on kick that I talked about. He's like, this is crazy. He said, my word is, man, is valuable. So I say, man, protect your word, son. Like, he's 12. He's 12. So just, man, giving him that type of game. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's just a beautiful thing. Because I believe, like if I wake up and I say, man, you know what? Man, I ain't nobody. You know, then guess what I'm going to become? Nobody. If I wake up and say, man, I'm going to lose, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to lose. What we say changes everything because it'll change your perspective. It gives you the ability to seek and find. When you say, man, I will win, then you will win. It doesn't matter what the obstacles are in front of you. If you say, I'm going to get over that, you will get over that.
Life and death is in the
It's in the tongue. Life and death is in the tongue. But so often we be careless with our words. And when we are careless with our words, then our life reflects that carelessness that we have with our words. So I'm just trying to teach my children, man, you want to respect your words. When you talking to somebody, don't talk to try to tear them down, because when you're trying to tear them down, you are actually tearing yourself down. Because when you speaking death to somebody else, you will receive death to yourself. This is what I'm telling them, just real stuff that's going to be able to put them on another level in life. If I'm sitting up there saying, man, if I'm trying to build you up with my words, then guess what's happening with me? I'm building myself up. It's coming back to me.
And your kids learn to trust you, because say after words, you said your son or child in a bad moment, energy. If I'm good with the skills, as you say, in the moment, no matter what they say negatively, once they understand what that is, they'll come back and like, man, Dad, man, he'll come back and apologize. Dad, I'm sorry.
Right.
For what I said.
Right.
And I appreciate, and now he learning too.
Right.
I appreciate you being there for me when I was tripping.
No doubt. No doubt. And that's the beauty in it all too, is allowing them to grow.
Right.
Right? So I don't tell my son, like, you can't say this stuff. I'm just telling them what I believe. You could go ahead and talk like that all day long.
I know, like, well, Dave, no, I have 5 kids. I have 3 boys and 2 girls. And my boys, on the other hand, they have a tendency of doing the same thing, and I explain the exact same. That's why I know exactly where you're coming from. So, like, right now, my boys have a tendency of, they like to outsmart this, let me put it that way.
Right, no doubt.
And they have, like, both of my boys, I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old will be 6 this month. So they have a tendency of be like, oh, well, hey, Mom, I need to know about certain things that I don't understand. But then as a parent, you give them the certain guides and things that they need to know, and then they figure out the rest of it like
Right.
they already know.
Right.
And I try to rewrote those the other way around, and then show them a positive, like, well, you know, you shouldn't think this way because you hear people say these things, or you might hear Mommy say something, because they feel that. They really do. They feel that negative energy when you do bring it to them. Anytime that you have anything wrong with you, they feel it.
Right.
So, it's, yeah, especially when you're close to your children, they really do. And that's another thing. And I'm glad that they did bring me in, because that was one thing, as it being now a single mother and having to raise boys too. That's one thing is gonna continue to keep re-roll. I can't even talk today. Thank you. Only because of the fact is that, like, I'm not that father, but I'm still also still trying to be a mother.
No doubt.
But then also still trying to be a woman to my daughters. But
Right.
I also still have to play the role as being a father. But also they're understanding, they're smart for their age. And Dave, you can kind of explain my kids too.
Oh.
Yeah, they're
Right.
not low, they're not an average 8, 6, 5, 7, 3, 2.
Right.
They're not. They are maybe they act like a 12, 13, 11, 5-year-old with 2-year-old. You wouldn't get that.
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out other ways for me to explain to my boys that not just only that your words is supposed to be positive, but also you have to stand on your 2 grounds, even though that you are a little bit more mature for your age as well.
Right,
too.
right.
And that's another thing too. And I look at even their surroundings. Like I did take my kids out of city school and I put them in prep school, so they're a little bit different.
Okay.
And I try to explain to them their different ways into doing things, and it's still in standing on your 2 feet and respect. I'm getting a nub right now because
Right.
they're at that age like, Mom, this ain't working. You're positive. You're
No
positive.
doubt,
I
no
got you.
doubt.
But I need to figure out now they're at that part of that negative, and I'm trying to block it from them.
Ooh, I got it. I know exactly what you're saying.
And it's coming back strong, and I'm like, nope, you can't do this. You're here to learn. This is what we're here for. Have a great day.
Right.
Be the best you can be. Whatever. We talk about this every morning.
Right.
Come back. Oh yeah, I love school. And they go straight to. But this right here, I ain't trying to. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Negative is coming in, or it's something. And
Right.
I know where it's coming from. It's just I'm trying to put it in a positive, look at it in a positive way instead of being negative all the time. I don't want to be that.
No doubt, no doubt. And I see exactly what you're saying. And that's the boat of a lot of parents is what? You are trying to give them what you believe that they need to be successful.
Right.
You got information because of your existence on this earth. Right. You got experience. And like you said that they trying to outsmart the smartness, you know, like they think that they know all of it, right? And you know that, hey, you don't know half, right? I got information to give you to be able to go at life. And you want them to take your information to go at life with because you done tried and tested that information. You know, that knowledge that you got has been vetted, right? You done seen what was wrong. You done seen what was right through your experience. You done been able to see things, right? That's what we do as parents. And our main objective is what? To get our children that knowledge that we got. So now when they are going at life at a young age, they are operating from all of our experience at a young age. Where it took us all of these years to get it, they are able to access that information at that age. And that's the beautiful thing. And that's all we're trying to do as parents, right? Ain't that's what we're trying to do as parents? Now, let's get into it. And we're going to do the recap. How do we get that done? We get that done how? Through a positive, strong relationship. That's how we gain the influence. A positive, strong relationship is what? A relationship without barriers. That means we have the ability to transfer information because there's no barriers that's stopping the information.
Why not hold barriers if they're still young?
Right. No, listen. This is what it is. It's saying that it's no barriers as far as, but because of the relationship, a relationship without barriers. Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody and you said, man, you went against everything that they said because you just didn't like them? They made you feel a certain type of way. When they were around you, you said, man, I just don't like you. Right? It was a war inside of you in regard to them.
And sometimes you can't say whatever you want to. You gotta like, oh, I can't say that.
Right. Like the way that somebody said it or the way that they, interacted with you, or maybe you could think about your parents, how it was back then. Was it some barriers between you and your parents growing up, right? That's a negative relationship. And if we want to have influence in our children's lives, what we got to have is a positive relationship, because that's the only way that we can have actual influence is through a positive relationship. But if we don't have the influence, what are we going to rely on? Control. We're going to try to control them. And we don't want to control our children. We want to influence our children. The only way that we can arrive to the control in our minds is how? Through domination and fear. So then we say we're going to dominate my child. So we want to make sure that we influence our children. Right? Influence our children. I'll get you in a hot second. All right? We want to make sure that we influence our children. And that's what the positive relationship is about. So what we have been discussing throughout this class is what? Establishing a strong positive relationship. Strong positive relationships is paradise, and weak relationships are hell. We want to have the strong positive relationship so we can get the influence and then we can transfer the information. So where does it start? It starts with who? Us. That means that before we even get started, we want to say, man, what type of father am I delivering to my children? What type of mother am I delivering to my children? How am I going to come to that conclusion? That means that I'm telling my children, I'm not going to give you any old type of mother. I'm not going to give you any old type of father. I'm going to give you a father or a mother that's intentional and deliberate about the way that they are interacting with you. Why? Because I care about our relationship. I'm not just going to be doing any old thing. I'm going to be focused on what I am doing when it comes to establishing a relationship with you. Why? Because I want a positive relationship. That is letting my children know off the bat that what? I am serious about our relationship. How do I come to that conclusion on determining what type of father or mother that I'm going to deliver to my children? What's the first thing I got to do? I got to look at myself. How?
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative from where?
From your past experience.
From my past. So this is what we cover, right? We reflect. What do we reflect at? This is how we come to the conclusion on what type of parent that we're going to deliver to our children. We reflect on our past, how our parents were with us. This is how we start to come up with the ideology of how we're going to go at this parenting piece. What type of parent we're going to deliver to our children. So when I'm reflecting and I'm looking at the interactions between me and my parents, I look at the positive interactions first. And I say, man, well, what is some positive interactions that happened between me and my parents when I were younger, right? My father, I was raised single parent household. My father was the one that raised, right? So my father, what he used to do, he used to come outside. He used to play football with me and my friends. He was the all-time quarterback. He made himself accessible to me and my friends. And my friends were excited about him making himself accessible because my friends didn't have fathers. But it was just exciting when my friends would come to me and say, man, your dad cooled in a mug, man. Like, your dad got a crazy arm. He could throw it deep, although he just throw it to you every single time. But dang, we still got a possibility that he could throw it to us, you know? So I'll be like, man, yeah, that's cool stuff, man. And I used to feel excited about my father outside, man, spending that time with me and my friends, right? So now when I fast forward into the father that I'm delivering to my children, only thing that I'm going to do is what? I'm going to duplicate that same interaction. So then that means that I'm going to give my children the same thing that my father gave me. So now what am I doing? I'm making myself accessible to my children and their friends. So when my daughter, 5 years old, she says, Dad, man, can you beat a lava monster on the playground? I say, man, all right, I'll beat a lava monster and chase you and your friends around. So I'm on the playground, kid you not. Other people so sophisticated, other adults out there, they just, man, reading their books and stuff. I'm on the playground chasing they kids and my kid around the playground. Lava monster. I'm running all over the playground.
They can remember that.
Right.
And other kids too.
Other kids too, because now it started to become a thing to where I was coming to the playground and they like, there goes the lava monster. And my daughter like, I got the connection with the lava monster. You know, so she's feeling a certain type of way. You know, so she's like, man, I got the connection with the lava monster. Chase us around, lava monster. And I'm chasing them. That's what they were saying. Guess what I started to do? I started to recruit. I had one dude, he was in a suit and tie. I said, man, hey, you could be the lava monster too. I see you got it in you. And the daddy was like, man, I don't know about me being the lava monster. I said, yes, you can. And then all of the kids came around him like, you could be the lava monster too. You could be lava monster number 2. And I said, yes, you can, see. And he was chasing them around like lava monster. I set my butt down. I said, man, there you go. You know, so now he was the lava monster too, right? But that's what it's about. And the reason why I was doing that is why? I'm just duplicating what I already know to be positive. If it's right, then you just give them the same right that you already know, right? And this is the first step into what? establishing a strong, positive relationship. This is strategic. I'm not just guessing. I'm going into my data bank and getting information that I know is already right. So when you thinking, even when you go back, you just think about, man, some of the good things that you know that your parents did that made you have some positive feelings in regard to them. It could have been them just saying, man, you know what, we're going to go ahead and go to the movies today, you know, or we're going to go ahead and go to Dairy Queen, just out the blue. And that made you feel good. So now what you want to do is you want to implement that same thing in your parenting right now today, because your main objective is what? To establish a strong, positive relationship. And the best thing that you can do is do that which you already know to be right. If it was good for you, surely it's going to be good for them. It's a good possibility of it being good for them, right?
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Absolutely right. So then that's the first thing that we did to establishing what type of father, mother that we're going to deliver to our children. Now after we look at the positive, what do we do next? This is big. We got to look at the negative. Identify the negative interactions that we've had with our parents when we were younger, and then what do? We resist from giving our children those same negative interactions. That means that if I didn't like when my parents screamed at me and said that, what is you, stupid, dumb? Like, what is you, slow? If I didn't like it when my parents did that to me, then guess what I'm going to do when I'm a parent now delivering it to my children? I'm going to make sure that I resist the temptation from doing the same exact thing what I already know to be poison. That means I know that it made me feel like this big when my parents did it to me. So if I do it to my children, it's going to make them feel this big. So I gotta resist from giving them that which I already know to be negative. If I used to look out in the audience, or if I used to look out in the football stands or the basketball stands, and I didn't see my parents out there to support me when I was playing basketball, and it made me feel negative on the inside, now what I'm going to do as a father, as a mother, I'm going to make sure that I attend the football games. I'm going to make sure that I attend cheerleading. I'm going to make sure that I attend dance recitals. I'm going to make sure that I attend those things that weren't attended for me when I was a child, and it gave me those negative feelings. I felt like, man, what the heck? How come they ain't here?
You gonna show up?
I'm going to show up. So even when I get the temptation to say, well, I got other things to do. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. And they'll understand. I'm going to be like, no. I'm going to commit to not giving them what I already know to be wrong. That's going to produce the negative feelings. And our children can even come to you and make it seem like it doesn't even matter.
It's like a lot of people commit to their work and their job, but they're not committing to the most important job that we have,
which is being a parent. Like, you are responsible for the development of an actual individual. And the best way for you to develop anybody is through a relationship, a strong, positive relationship. So we got to be focused on how we are establishing that relationship. And the only way that we can establish that strong, positive relationship is if we are intentional about the type of individual that we are delivering to them. But if we don't identify that negative, guess what happens? It's going to surface in your current parenting. It happens all the time. How many parents do you know right now today say, man, you know what, I didn't like being hollered at, but they do it right now unconsciously. I'm going to scream at you like I was screamed at, because that's what was done to me. And it's just in my mind. I'm in autopilot because I haven't taken the time to think about it.
I have to do that with like my brother and sister. My dad hopped, and he was a disciplinarian.
Right.
So my sister, right, watches her kids, you know, and then sometimes that's what she does. And I'll be like, and I, in the moment, and I'm sitting there and something happened, and I'll be like, and I'll be like, hold up, I got this.
No doubt.
I got this.
No doubt.
And then I go straight to them. Let me sit down. I in a thinking position, you know.
Right.
Now, what do you think? You know, what you say, what's the logical response? In a sense, the other way, it's going to happen if you continue to do this. and I'm watching her watch me doing this. Throw the ego out the way.
Right.
We gotta throw that away. It's convenient for that. Now, and all of them watching, all these kids have been watching. I've been, like you said, I've been doing this, but now I'm just more intentional with it, more consistent.
Right. No doubt.
And it's working, man. Just in this short period of time, in the 10% time, from the 100% time, I'm getting so much more results now. Because I'm just so much more intentional with it. It's crazy.
That's how we continue to get better.
And the kids in the family, like my daughter, said something the other day, like, here we arguing, she said, Dad, why you always trying to be the peacemaker? How did that sound though? You always trying to make peace with everybody. I asked her, I said, what did you just say?
Right.
So, I'm telling you, bro.
Absolutely. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. But we just want to have a focused energy into this parenting piece. So what do? We look at what's positive. We duplicate the positive interaction that we've had with our parents, and we say that produce, and we know the positive interactions is those that produce the positive feelings inside of us when we were children. It could have been the way that they talked to us, the way that they, treated us or whatever, the way that they provided us the answers. Remember I said that I didn't like not knowing the reason why for some of the things when I was a kid that produced negative feelings inside of me, because it's like, man, if I'm asking you a question, I just want an answer to it. But sometimes, adults would say, man, I ain't got to say nothing to you. You a kid. Shut up. Do what I say. Right? I didn't like that stuff, man. Like, tell me, like, explain. So what you got with me now as a father, I actually explain the stuff to my children. I look at them in their eyes and I explain exactly what the heck I'm talking about, because I came up with it, so surely I can explain it. It's not just something I'm plucking out the air. I can explain whatever we doing, whatever I got going on, I can explain it. I give them that explanation because I didn't like not getting an explanation when I was younger. But I'm intentional about that. So we identify the negative and we resist the negative. If we do not resist the negative, it will automatically surface in our parenting. So then that's why I encourage to sit down in your alone time and do what? Write out the positives. Because this take you to a whole nother level. Just ponder and focus on and just go back into your childhood and think about those positive interactions, because we are being intentional about what we are doing. And then we ponder and we identify those negative interactions and we write those down too as well. This is the work that we are putting in. Right? This is the work that it takes. Remember I said, what is it going to take for us to be the best parents that we need to be? Everything. This stuff gonna take everything. Everything. It's not gonna be nothing left for reserve. It's going to take everything. And when we give everything, our children will benefit immensely. When we give everything. Because that's the only thing that we are required to give is what? Everything. Ain't nobody saying giving more than your everything, because that's not realistic. Don't give less than your everything. Just give your everything, and your children will benefit. So after we look at the positive and the negative, now what do? And now we got to look outside of ourselves. We look at other parents, and we look at maybe movies and TV shows, and we see parents on there, and we say, you know what, I like the way that they interacting with their children. I'm going to apply that to my parenting as well, right? So now what do? I say, man, you know what? I like the way that that you have movie night. Remember somebody told me about movie night. I've been doing movie night now for the last about 3-4 months because I like the way that they said about movie night. Before, we would just out the blue and say movie night. Let's go to the movies. But now what I've done is I said that every Thursday is going to be movie night. Now my children know that it's movie night every single Thursday. Like clockwork. Absolutely. Yep, we get the popcorn pop. We go to the dang on Kroger. We get some candy, dollar candy, of course. I keep it on the low, right? We get the red box. You know what I'm saying? Keep it on the low. I get the red box. This stuff is, it's low budget, right? I say I could.
Fridays, so I know we do Fridays on movie night.
That's a beautiful thing. See what I'm saying?
Eat at the table every day.
Absolutely. And that's intentional. So it's going to be things that you're doing already that's intentional. This is what's going to be so beautiful. Because where did you get that idea from?
It's something that was never done with me.
Where did you hear about it at? Or what made you say, like...
I was raised by a group of army, let me just say an army, basically. So a little bit of here and there from older people that did raise me, or from things that I knew that maybe my kids will prosper a little bit better and make them feel some type of way. Because I feel a lot of negative. That's why I was telling you too, like, I didn't have both of my parents in the right mind, never, really.
Right.
So, like, what they didn't do, I made sure not to do with all of my children, so they wouldn't feel so neglected, and there's so many of them as well, too. So we all sit at the dining room table, eat dinner. We might watch a movie or share the TV. We watch one show with this person watch another show, whatever. Everybody is all in together.
No doubt. That's a beautiful thing. So if you are doing things that you already know is going to produce the positive, then how can you not get the positive relationship, right?
I don't, well, the positive I have, let me put it this way. My relationship with all of my children are very, very great. I don't have no complaints about it to a certain degree. It's just that my boys are starting to have that tendency of growing into men early, because they feel like they need to step up.
Right.
So as a mother and as a woman, I wasn't built to be that way. I was built, mainly as being a nurturer. I'm not a man, so I can't tell what he can and cannot do to a certain degree. And then I don't want to have, because that's where we have our boundaries as well too, that he can trust me to do and say what the things that is necessary. If he feels uncomfortable, they know to come to me and talk to me about that. The thing is just that his mindset is ready to wander more what's out there. But I won't let him gravitate to that because of the fact, as I explained to him, what we have a mission. And our mission is what we're trying to have. Our mission is I want my kids to have success. What I didn't have is what I want more better. That's my goal, my only goal, my intentional goal, and I look at that every day. What I didn't have, y'all have better.
Right.
So with I talk about my boys more because my girls is easy. It's easy. I've already lived my life. I know what to do with them. My girls, on the other hand, my boys, on the other hand, they need their dad. That's just the reality of it. And trying to make it into, hey, I'll still throw that football with you, son, or I'll do that karate move. Teach me how to do that dance. Sometimes that's the part where it starts to get a little bit deeper, because now he's at that age, like, okay, now I'm wondering, so what's dad gonna do now? You did this, you did that. Now he's actually wondering and actually asking, so what's dad gonna do now? Like, and I'm still trying to be a positive person and be like, well, he will, just ask him, or knowing that he feels like he knows that answer, but being as a mother that I am, I won't be negative towards, well, I'm saying it now, I can be negative now, but I won't do that towards my children and let them know that this is not what that is, or he's not going to do this with you because this, or I try to explain certain things when it's a serious, more conversation to kind of make it still look like it was a better side to everything.
Right.
Because this is, technically my situation is a lot different from everybody else's. I've been with a person for 10 years and have 5 kids with. So they've never seen another man, or they've never had to deal with any of those things. So like us being apart from each other for a year is different. So it's trying to, they're used to, oh, mom, you're always here at home. Okay, mom, why are you working 64 hours in 1 week and we can't do this now? Or they're not understanding where that's coming from. And like I said, that's my main reason, really, like trying to understand, because I'm not a man.
Right. Well, this is something too, is now after we start to understand, and I get what you're saying, right? And the only thing that you can be is a mother, right? You can never be the father. Right. The father cannot be the mother, right? Again, I grew up in a single parent household. My father was there. It was things that I missed from my mom. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Right. So it's like neither one is greater than the next. That's what I'm realizing. Both are equally important. If one of them is missing, it's going to impact the child. It will. It just will. Both parents are equally important, right? Because, with my mother not being there like that, growing up because she got caught up in the 80s or whatever may be the case, man. That stuff was next level. I mean, but I was raised in a way to where I'm just like trying everything, you know, and I'm like over the top, you know. It's like I didn't have no type of boundaries,
Right.
you know, because that's how I was raised, you know. So, but that's heavy duty. But now what we want to understand is like, what is our work as whichever parent that we are, rather it's the mother or the father, what is our job? Our job is what? Make sure that our children become successful. That's all we're looking for, right? Is making sure that they become successful. We want them to be successful adults. So now that's when we peel back the next layer after we understand what was our goals as a parent, what type of parent do we want to deliver to our children. Now we want to say, man, what type of children do we want, what type of adults do we want our children to become? So what is our goals for our children? So now we got to start to establish the goals for our children, and everything in our parenting has to revolve around what? Those goals that we have established with our children. This is the type of adult that I want you to become. This is the end game. So now that's my job. My job is not to be the mother. My job is not to be the father. My job as the parent is to do what? Is to make sure that we accomplish these goals. So now that's what I got to be focused on. That's my job. So when we talk about the goals that we have for our children, what do we base it on? Do we base it on what type of profession that we want them to become? Or do we base it on what type of character that we want them to become? Character. Because if I want them to become a football player because I blew out my knee, right? And they become that football player that I wanted them to become, will they be successful?
No, they're living your dream, not theirs.
They're going to grow up and hate the sport. That's
Right. Or even if they are real good at it and they can do it well and they making a lot of money at it, right? Are they successful?
No.
If what's really inside of them is to be a veterinarian.
Right, they want to be that veterinarian. They don't care about that. They just want to make you happy. That's it.
Right. So that's what I'm talking. Yeah, and that's the issue, right? So often what we do as parents is we try to live through our children, and that's a problem. That's selfish. It's saying that, man, you know what? Not only am I going to live my life, I'm going to live your life too. I'm going to go ahead and use your life to accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish. That was important inside of me. The things that I've been given. I've been given the desire to be a football player. I've been given the desire to be a businessman. I've been given the desire to do what I'm doing. I've been given the desire to be a speaker, to be a teacher. I can't sit up here and tell my children to be a speaker because that's what was given to me. When I come here, I'm fulfilled. This is fulfilling because I'm living my desire. This is what I've been given. This has been given to me. This isn't something that I just created. This is something that's been planted inside of me, and it's a beautiful thing when I can tap into it and be able to bring it out. And the people who come in contact with somebody who is living out their desires, they will be impacted in a positive way. So we both win. This is what I've been built to do. So I want my children to feel that same thing. Bridget says, she says, man, bro, like, man, you coming all the way down here from Columbus, an hour and a half on a Saturday, hours you spending on your Saturdays. And she says, that's some heavy duty stuff. She said, least I can do is put some food out there for you. I said, man, you know what? You ain't twisting my arm to do this because I'm living out my desire. That means that when I wake up, it's like, let's rock and roll. Let me go ahead and build. That is success. I want my children to feel that same success. So my responsibility is not to make sure that they live out a certain profession. I want to make sure that they have the character that will warrant success. So now what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm instilling the character traits that they need to have to be able to warrant success. So that's what my goals is based on. What type of character traits do they need to have to be able to warrant success? You got a question, Shandy?
So my son, he said when he grows up, he wants to work at Walmart.
Right.
I think that's all kids. No, like for real, I'm not even saying, like, I'm dead serious. Like my daughter told me she want a birthday party at Walmart. That's YouTube.
Right.
No, it's for real. It's YouTube. Like my 7-year-old, she like, Mom, I'm about to go. I said, how about you build a Walmart?
Right.
How about you own a Walmart? Here you go. We
doing that. You're not about to work. I even explained to her, we ain't doing that.
That's
That's
what-
minimum wage. We ain't even flip
That's what I'm saying.
How about you franchise? Let's talk about that.
Ain't that crazy though?
Like,
But that's the thing about it is like that stuff would change. You know, that stuff would change. So she said,
I'm like,
"What?" She wants to be that person. Welcome to Walmart. Good evening. Welcome to Walmart. Good evening.
I told her you can't be no greeter.
Right. Right. But this is the thing about it, and this is where it gets challenging for us as parents, right? It's us, man, you know, saying, because what if them greeting was the thing that made them feel fulfilled? What if they said, I'm in my next level of living while I'm greeting, right?
I don't know.
Listen, like, what if that was the case? What if it was the case that they said, man, you know, when I'm able to greet, man, that really, man, has me in a whole different space. And they are able to get some joys out of life, you know, that, so it might not be the actual Walmart, it might be something similar. But even if we say, man, you know what, and that's why we got to be careful, because if we say, man, go ahead and become the owner of Walmart, do you know, it might not be fit for them. Right? Because even if I own, see, it's a difference when you are at the top, when you are leading the charge. It's a lot of responsibility, and it's not built for everybody. Everybody is not built to go out there and say, man, you know what, I'm going to get salaries for people. Some people are just built to get a salary because it's a lot of responsibility to think about salaries for everybody. And that doesn't fit everybody. It's not supposed to. Right? So when we are developing our children, this is when we got to really get into the space that we need to be at and come from a thinking place. We want to make sure that we are developing the character. That is all our responsibility. And when they have that characteristics that they need to have, then guess what? Whatever they choose to be, that's on them. I don't tell my children what they need to be. I just tell them the type of character that they need to have that's going to warrant success. So when I talk about the character, I cover 5 different character traits that I say that I believe that they should have that will warrant success. And how do we accomplish those characters? How do we accomplish the goals? And how do we accomplish the goals? We accomplish the goals, 1, I have them, and you can do it too with your children because they're still at their age and they can write it down. Not the 2-year-old, but the 5 to 8, you know, they can write this stuff down. So what I tell them is that you write those character traits down. You write the goals. I call them the goals. You write the goals down on a piece of paper. It's 5 of them. So when they write them down on a piece of paper, where do we stick it at? Right on the refrigerator. Because children, they stay in the refrigerator. So now when they go to...
Like, I got a goal board. I do.
Right.
Like, I ain't thinking about putting it on the refrigerator.
On the refrigerator, right?
Before we get to the kitchen.
I'm telling you, right? Yeah, put it on the refrigerator because they stay in that refrigerator. So now, every time that they come to the refrigerator, what are they going to see? The goals that you have set for them. That means that when I'm parenting you through these years that we are going to be together, we focused on these goals. I will not compromise these goals. So now, not only do they look at the goals, I'm looking at the goals as well. It's keeping me in check. So when I'm tempted to compromise some of the goals, guess what I'm going to say? Hold up, I can't compromise that goal. When I see the goal being exhibited through their behavior, what am I going to do? I'm going to encourage that behavior. Because when you build on the positive, then what do you see?
Positive.
More positive.
Positive actions result in positive. Positive actions make positive results.
Absolutely right. So then that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that I encourage the behavior. Encouragement means to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they did, how it benefited that particular situation, and how it's going to benefit them in the future. Does it take more time than just praising them? Yes, it does. Praise is just general and it's generic. It's just saying, good boy, good girl, good job. You know, that's praise. But they really can't understand exactly what it is that they did. So yeah, it makes them feel good that you praise them, but it still doesn't lock it into their mind of exactly what it is that they did. it still doesn't lock into their mind exactly what it is that they did. So then this is the purpose of the encouragement. I'm encouraging my children so then they can get a clear understanding of what it is that they did. Why? So then they can duplicate it again. And if they look for different ways to do it again, so then they can get the same good feeling that they got from me in that spot, guess what's going to happen? It's going to become habit. Because now they're doing it again, they doing it again, and they doing it again until it just becomes them. That's the purpose of the encouragement. But that's the focus that we got to have. I'm telling y'all, it be like strategic. I sit up here with my children like a mad scientist because I teach it, I go straight home and I apply it. I teach it, I go straight home and apply it. I've been teaching this since 2013. Y'all haven't seen me open a book with none of this information. It's just in me. I can spit it out. And if you looked at the manual, you'll be like, dang, this is all of the stuff.
Can we get a copy of that?
Yeah, I got you. So, but it's just like I apply it.
It's the attention you have for your children, and they see that you have that attention, and they want it, and they see it, and you're giving it to them.
And
That's all it is.
that's all it is. Because
it's not hard. I tell people all the time, people are like, oh, you got 5 kids. I'm 26, by the way. I'm 26, still baby. ain't work too much or nothing. It's giving them attention.
Right. This stuff is easy to do.
You can be reading a book. Read it to them.
Right.
Get them a coloring book. Be like, oh, them colors are so pretty. Do something else. Have them even all in a group. Matter of fact, have even like your oldest kid or your youngest kid be the teacher. Love it. They don't care. They just want the attention. That's all it is just attention.
And you made it. You made a good point, because what you said is that, hey, this stuff is easy to do. Guess what? This stuff is easy to do. It is. It's easy to do. But guess what? Also, I know it's easy not to do. And that's why people don't do it. Right. It's also easy not to. It's also easy to say, I got other things going on in my mind. I got other things I got to do. It's also easy to say, man, I'm not going to intentionally do what I know to be right. I'm not going to intentionally do the positive. I'm not going to intentionally neglect the negative. You know, it's easy.
Well, the life that you do, that's what it is. Wow. Like last week when you was talking about how like if you're doing something and your child does something or whatever, like last week, this week, my daughter, she did something and I didn't want her to do it. And I just said, oh, I appreciate that, Janiyah. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to help and stuff like that. But right now, mommy doesn't need it. But I let her know that I appreciated what she did.
See what I'm saying? Oh, I can give you a bear hug right now, Shandy. That's what I'm talking about. You applying what we talking about.
Normally what I do is, mommy don't need that. Go somewhere.
Right. But what you do, you identify the positive with you seen the goal. She was bringing value to the table. She was trying to be an asset to the situation. And that's the type of character that you want her to have. That's one of the goals that we have. So because
she smiled afterwards.
She smiled because she's like, wow, you see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to add value. So now she's going to respect that character trait inside of her, and she's going to look for different ways to add value. But you said, I don't need it right now. Instead of just saying, man, go ahead and go on right now.
She'll bring me a water.
Wow.
She'll bring me a water, even though I don't need it, but she'll bring me a water.
That's beautiful.
And I'll be like, thank you, Janiyah. I don't need it right now. You know what I'm saying? But thank you. And I'll just still take it.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? But I still let her know, like, thank you.
No doubt. Absolutely right. And like you said, it made her feel positively inside. Why does it make her feel positive? Because you're seeing things in her that's right? It just wasn't all wrong. And that's the key to accomplishing these goals. So let's go ahead and move on along. Remember the goals that we have. The first goal that we have for our children? Confidence.
Is this the same thing from last week?
Yep. Remember, every week what I do is I always recap.
I just want to know, what I'm saying, instead of
absolutely, yeah. You don't have to write the same thing down. Absolutely, you already got this down, right? Absolutely, it's the same thing, right? Absolutely,
writing it down, like,
right. Right. Yeah. So always recap to build on it because nothing is like repetition.
Yeah.
Right. The more that we repeat this stuff, the better in it that we get. So it's repetition. So then that's why I do this stuff by design. Right. Just continuing to build on that stuff. So it's so we can remember it, and then that gives us the ability to be able to better apply it. Right. So now when we are in that position, we are going to be thinking that, and we're gonna apply it. Right. So confidence. Why do I want my children to be confident? Because I understand that when individuals are insecure, they find themselves in compromising situations. They will become vulnerable, right? It's nothing like being insecure. And because why? Because people are never satisfied. If you are trying to fit in with what people want, right? People ain't never satisfied. It don't matter what you do. People gonna say you can do better, right? So people are like that. So I don't want my children to become adults and they are insecure. Right? So I want them to have confidence. That's huge for me.
Big thing, because that's what a lot of even just adults still have problems with.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. And we discussed, one of my major issues was what? My lack of confidence. And I was arrogant. I wasn't confident. It's a difference, So then that was the problem with me coming up when I was in the hood, 13 years old. And I said that I just got to be overly aggressive. I got to do it like this because I was lacking that confidence. So I said that, man, I'm going to go ahead and get as much money as I possibly can. And I'm about to, man, set it all, right? That's how I felt, So I sold drugs like it was going out of style because I believed that was what was going to get me to my next level, and it was going to make people accept me. Why? Because when I was around some of the adults that was bringing me up, not my father, but some of the other adults that was bringing me up, they got at me. They made me feel this small, the way that they talked to me and things like that. It hurt my confidence. It made me insecure, right? And because it made me insecure, when I went to school, I was really, rough on some people in the school because I'm like, you ain't gonna do me like they do me. I'm gonna do you like they do me. And that put me in my positions in life where I was in bad situations because of my lack of confidence. So I understand how costly confidence is. Matter of fact, the night when I had shot my good brother, my friend that I came up with, I shot him and I said, man, I didn't feel like that I should shoot him, but I said that I got to because I got to live by the codes in the hood. The hood teaches me this and I got to do what people say. I cannot go back to the hood and not say that I've done what I was supposed to do.
Was he a snitch?
No, he was stealing from me. And I found out. Well, I don't know if he was stealing it. Hey, what he stole. I dropped my dope and he found it and he kept it and he knew it was mine. He knew it was mine. He was helping me look for it. And then he told somebody that he didn't think was going to tell me. And they told me. And when they told me, I just waited and Yeah, I had a drop on him. But I was living by these codes because I was thinking that this is how you be, with the information in the hood and the music and stuff like that that's getting played and stuff like that, blow their heads off and stuff like that, real stuff at 24 with an L. Oh well, like it don't matter. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. You know what I'm saying? Like living by these type of codes because I'm thinking that, man, this is what makes me cool.
Think of what gives you confidence.
But when I got that 10 years, man, I didn't feel cool.
That wasn't quite the next level you wanted, was it?
Right, because ain't nobody sitting up there. They were saying free lows. I heard them. I heard they saying in the club. They all in the club. They turning the club up like free lows, free my brother low. And I'm like, man, that stuff ain't helping me, man. I'm still in here doing day for day, man. 365 for 10 years straight, like my whole 20s from 19 to 29. Like this stuff don't feel good to me. But I was in that situation. Why? Lack of confidence. It made me vulnerable to my environment. So when the big homies were saying, this is how you live, this is how you move, I was saying, yeah, no doubt, man, this is how I move. And I stuck to it. And then when I stuck to it, then people started saying, man, no, you ain't have to go that far. So that's why I say stuff is just a tricky situation. Right?
Still alive?
Yeah, he survived. We met up and stuff like that. We cool. Yeah, actually, we shook hands and everything.
Like, the only thing with that is there's confidence, I agree, but then there's the confidence and then there's the cocky. There's a thin line.
Yeah,
like,
it's a difference.
Yeah,
Right.
big difference.
Right. So confidence and arrogance is two different things. Confidence is saying that, man, you know what? I know that I have weaknesses, but I believe what's inside of me, I'll be able to overcome those weaknesses. That's confidence. What arrogance is saying that I don't have no weaknesses. That's arrogance. That's not even accurate. Everybody has weaknesses. So that's what I felt like when I was from 13 to 19. I said, man, I ain't got nothing going. Ain't no weaknesses on me. That's how I felt. Like, I'm getting it in. I felt like that, and that's what puts us in them situations, Dave, because we feel like we can't be touched. We feel like that we're invincible, right? It's no court of law that can stop me. That's how I felt. It's nobody out here on these blocks that can stop me. That's how I felt. Nobody gonna steal from me. That's how I felt.
And then when they stole from you, you just had to let
Right.
them know.
Right. So that's the difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is saying that I ain't got no weaknesses. Confidence is saying, I know I have weaknesses, but I believe what's inside of me, I'll be able to overcome those weaknesses. That's what that is, right? So, confidence.
No, earlier I displayed such because I thought somebody took my jacket and I was in the Army house to let them know whoever the fuck got my jacket, I'm gonna whoop your ass. You think this shit's a game? Oh wow, but then I'll misplace my jacket. But then I said,
Right.
I did. It wasn't even there. It was at my friend's house. But I came back, but I texted man to do. I apologize.
Right.
My fault. You know what I'm saying? I misplaced it. I misjudged. But you guys steal so much in actual ignorance sometimes. I assume. But I was
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what some men don't do.
No doubt. No doubt.
Because you
I'm saying?
apologize.
That's a beautiful thing that you came forth.
For yourself and for others to do that,
Yeah.
because that's one thing that people nowadays have. Like my biggest thing, people don't have loyalty or respect towards anybody.
No
And
doubt.
I'm really big on that. So if you can't respect yourself, I can't be near you. If you can't respect the other people around you, I can't be near you.
Right.
Because then I know you're gonna do dumb actions. Because you can't respect yourself.
How you gonna respect me? Like, you already let me know, right? You giving me the information I need to have. If you ain't respecting yourself, you telling me. If you don't love yourself, you telling me you definitely cannot love me, right? Like, so that's just information. But where you could have took it to a whole nother level, Monty, is just not even saying but. When we give our apologies, when we say sorry, it's just that, right? If it's wrong, it's wrong. Right? If that means they're saying, man, if it's wrong, because when we pull in I'm sorry, but y'all still so dang on much. Y'all got some dang on sticky fingers. Y'all know how y'all do, right? It takes away from the apology. That's what I'm saying. The but takes away from the apology.
Like we in the joint. It was like
I know. But just let them have the apology.
You did it on accident. You just said but.
Right. But no, this is real stuff. And remember, we are conditioned to do things a certain way until we get different information. And once we get that different information, now we can start to do things in a different way. That's why information is so beautiful, right? Just learning more and becoming better, right? To get the better results.
I gotta ask him a question. So you apologize, but you say but? Did you say but?
Right, but y'all got the accusation.
I apologize. Did I say but? I don't think I did.
I think I said it straight, direct, no, very direct.
You text
Right.
me and was like, oh, my bad, I found it.
But I'm worried about
But it takes away.
But I did not tell them that.
Oh,
This is what I'm thinking.
Oh, you ain't tell them that.
I didn't tell them that.
Oh, I thought you said I'm sorry. I thought you said I'm sorry, but
I straight up apologize. My fault. I misplaced it. I'm at fault. Sorry
Okay.
for taking it out on y'all. I apologize.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, now we
I
cool.
said, but at least I'm man enough to apologize
Good,
for my
good,
role.
good, good,
Okay.
good, good.
Because I was
That's
wrong.
what I thought.
And that was-
Because I thought he said that, man, you know what? Hey, I apologize,
But
man,
back in my
but,
head, I'm
you know.
thinking, but you motherfucker, you still so
right, cool. That's good. That's good.
why I had
But that's
that
where we want to be
question.
at.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely right.
I thought he said
No, but
that
that's
too.
why I said that. You gotta have respect for yourself because I was waiting to say it.
Absolutely. That's heavy duty. That's heavy duty, man.
This other class that I take, it's called Thinking for a Change, and they always say the butt makes everything before it's shit.
Right. Absolutely right.
Because I don't hear nothing after that.
Because you
but-
don't. Because you almost is justifying your behavior.
Yeah.
Right? And if it's wrong, it's wrong. You just leave it at being wrong. So then it can be corrected. You know, when I leave it at being wrong, you got a confidence in it being corrected.
We're gonna change our wordplay after you hear that sorry. Your emotions, your everything
Right.
is gonna change.
Absolutely.
You tell me that you're sorry for something that could have been the most pettiest thing, and then, well, shoot, I wasn't even expecting an apology or whatever. You still appeared,
Right.
you know, and that's the thing. Even when you put in that, but you still gonna go back up to here because now it don't even sound like
Right. And it can't get received in the way that we want to get it received in. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Number 2, and we're going to get to today's chapter 2. I kid y'all not. We're going to get to it. All right, number 2.
Decision maker.
Good decision maker. That means
You tried.
I know that's right.
Glasses, and I just see. You know,
Right. So good decision maker. That's another goal that I have for my children. I want them to be good decision maker. Why? Because we got to live from the consequences of our decisions. So I want them. So what to me is a good decision maker is an individual that invests majority of their energy into understanding the consequences, because the consequences is what you will live with. It's not the decision. I want the consequences to influence the decision. That means that I want them to understand the consequences fully before they make the decision. So then that's what I believe a good decision maker is. So then that's what I want my children to be as adults. I want them to be good decision makers, because at the end of the day, the people who make good decisions, and you string some good decisions together over a period of time, where will you end up at? In a successful place. That means that when they are making a decision on what type of profession that they want to choose, it's going to be a good decision, right? Because they said that this is something that I am okay with doing. This is what is tapping into what's inside of me. So now when they are doing that particular profession, they are going to be successful. Why? Because they have understood the consequences from that decision. How do I help my children become a good decision maker? I allow them to make decisions. So what I do, even if I'm talking about which vegetable that you want to eat, yeah, I'm making the decision on you going to eat vegetables, because I understand that you need vegetables to grow in a healthy way. But I'm going to allow you to make a decision on which vegetable that you want to eat. Do you want to eat the corn, the green beans, or the spinach? Whatever you want to eat, go ahead and pick it. I let you make that decision so you can start to get used to making decisions. And you're going to make some bad decisions, because how do you become a good decision maker? Is when you make bad decisions. So I want to allow them to make those bad decisions, so then they can become good decision makers. Remember when my daughter, she said that she wanted the dang on Skittles, the sour Skittles at my son's, at our brother's football game, at the concession stand. She says, I want them sour Skittles. And I say, daughter, man, you're not going to like them sour Skittles. I already know they are sour. You're not going to like them. But she says, I want them, Dad. And I didn't want to buy them at first, because I said that I didn't want to squander the money on something that she wasn't going to eat. And I didn't want to eat them. So I said, man, daughter, dang. So I said, man, but again, I had to go back into applying what I'm teaching. So I said, I gotta give her the ability to make the decision. So if you want the sour Skittles, daughter, let me go ahead and get out my pocket and purchase your sour Skittles. And then when she got the sour Skittles, she started to taste them and she said, this stuff is sour. And I said, daughter, I told you that they were going to be sour. And she says, Dad, can you suck off the sour stuff? And I was doing it for a period of time until I said, hold up, I'm not going to continue to suck off this sour stuff before I gave it to her. And I'm like, man, my hands all sticky. And she was saying that they were still sour. So I said, man, the candy done. So I said, man, ain't no more candy, man. Like, ain't no more candy. So she wasn't able to eat candy for the rest of the game. Why? Because she picked something that she wasn't so for sure in. So now when it came time to get candy again, what did she say? Dad, hold up. Is it sour? Because I know that sour puts me in a bad position. Good decision. She's becoming a good decision maker. Why? Because she is adjusting. She's understanding what she don't like and what she do like, and she's making her decision catered around that. She's understanding the consequences. So she's saying that if I just get any type of candy, I might not like it, and then I'm going to be without candy. So I'd rather go ahead and start to get candy. I'm talking about this is happening in real time with a 5-year-old, happening in real time. And she's saying, man, you know what? I'm going to get this candy because I think that this is going to give me my best experience. Why? Because I've tried this candy before and I know that this candy is good. And I don't want to waste, man, my opportunity to eat candy right now trying something that I don't even know about. I'd rather go ahead and mess with this stuff that I do know for right now. I'll try some stuff that I don't know about. Trick or treat, Halloween.
That's free.
When it's free. But not when I'm using money that's being bought and I got this one, it's a one-shot deal. I don't have other candy that I can go try. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is my best move. Man, that's a beautiful thing. And I'm telling y'all, like, just to be able to see that, just to be able to see her adjust, because I gave her the ability to make the decision. If I would have said, nope, I'm not going to buy that because I know that you're not going to like it and you're going to get this, then what would have happened? I wouldn't have gave her the ability to be able to understand how to make decisions, how to process the information. The best way that you can become a good decision maker is by making bad decisions. Failure is a tuition to success. The only way that we can be successful in life is when we fail.
Did you say failure is a tuition for success?
Failure is the tuition to success.
That's good.
So do you buy her candy every time that you go somewhere?
Yeah, most times I do.
So she made the good decision that she knows that every time she goes with Daddy, that she can go get her some candy, just to make sure that it's the right decision and not the nasty one.
Absolutely right. So then every time, what do you think she does? Hey, I'm going, Dad. She never wants to stay at the house. Right. I'm going, Dad.
Is that your own quote? You come up with that?
I took it from somebody. It's mine now, though. It's my. I put it in my books. It's in my books too, man. So it's actually mine.
Do you have any of those?
Yeah, when y'all graduate, y'all get copies of the book.
Oh, when you graduate, how many classes you gotta take?
There's a couple more classes. Yep. So 2 more classes after this.
Talk about us.
So yeah, but that's what it is. Good decision maker. Let's move on along. Number 3 is what? Self-regulated. Self-regulated. That means I want them to be able to regulate themselves, understanding what needs to be done, getting it done. Because I believe that successful individuals, they regulate themselves. They don't need to be regulated by systems or other people. They regulate themselves. So I want my children to be adults who regulate themselves. That's who I want them to be, right? Self-regulated. Number 4, bring value. Bring value to the table. That means that I want them to be assets to the environment. I want them to be individuals. I want them to be adults who bring value to the table. You know, when they coming into any environment, whether they're at their job, whether they're in a relationship, I want them to see what they can bring. I want them to look for ways to bring, not looking for ways to get. Because when people look for ways to get, the other person starts to feel a certain type of way. So I want them to be looking for ways, man, how can I bring to you? How can I give? Right? Because when they are in that type of mindset, then that means that they are going to be attractive. People are going to look for them. People are going to want to be around them. And people love to be around people who got something to bring.
That helps build the confidence too.
Right. I'm just saying though, like, let's just think about that. Somebody who got something to bring, are they attractive to people?
Yes, sir.
When you got something to bring, people be like, hold up, that brother got something to bring. He coming with something. Even if it's a good joke to make them laugh, if it's, you know, a good attitude, whatever it is, if you are bringing something of value, people are going to want to be around you.
People remember that. Like when you see somebody, it's like, they'll never bring nothing.
They be like, man, like every time I come around you, it's like a black hole.
Yeah.
Like, dang, it's like a black hole. You just suck energy out of me. Like, it's like every time it's like you are an attachment. You are not a connection. You drain my energy. You don't give me energy. When I'm around you, you drain it. I come around you and I be all excited. But when I leave you, I be sitting up here like, dang, I just feel unmotivated. I just, what the heck? Like, because that person isn't bringing value back to the table. But one thing that I understand is that they got developed that way. People get developed not to be individuals that bring value back to the table. How do you get developed like that? Because when they try to help, man, get out of here.
Right.
I don't need your help.
Right. Like you said, you gotta identify the good, like with the negative, and how you said, what's your word? Praise the positive.
Absolutely.
So you can have a response.
Encourage, absolutely. So now, when I see them trying to help, I let them know that helping out is a good thing. I encourage that behavior. So now they start to establish it in their minds that I want to be the person that help out, because that is what gets the positive feedback from my parent. So that's why we want to make sure that we encourage that behavior, so then they can be individuals that bring value back to the table, right? And number 5 is
do your best and give all you can.
I want them to be individuals that do their best. Because I believe that successful individuals, they just do their best. If you do your best in the things that you do, then guess what? You're going to be successful. Just do your best. That's it. Do your best. If you do your best in life, you will be successful. Just do your best. That's it. So how do we get that done? When I see my children, my daughter or whatever, she's coloring in between the lines, and she's going real slow to color in between the lines to make sure that the picture comes out the way that she wants it to come out, right? She's taking her time. I encourage that behavior. I say, daughter, I see that you are doing your best. Man, you are coloring that picture, so that picture is going to look great, right? That's a beautiful thing, encouraging the behavior. When you do your best in life, man, you're going to be in a successful place. That's how you stay at a level. Continue to do your best. I encourage the behavior, so now she's going to start to establish inside of her character to always do her best. So now when she becomes an adult, you're not going to get no halfway stuff from her. Because why? Because she's conditioned in her mind to do her best. If she do her best, if my son do his best, then guess what? They can sleep at night, because at the end of the day, if you do your best, then that's all you can do. All you can do is all you can do. And at the end of the day, all you can do is enough. But you just got to make sure that you're doing all that you can do. So if my children are doing their best because they have established that inside of their minds, I'm just confident that they're going to be successful.
I knew a guy who loves when I was in school. Like, they used to talk. I wasn't the type to talk about people. This guy, they laughed at him. Slow class, whatever you want to say. But his dad was a carpenter. He learned to be a carpenter. But When everybody else was trapping, like I said, this guy was the smartest guy. Was slow roll. Man, by the time we was 30, I'm 54 now. But by the time he was 30, man, he had houses, good credit.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
No
the
doubt.
Things that they was all laughing at.
Right.
With that slow roll. Now he got kids, they got stuff, you know.
You
get what I'm saying?
I look at that stuff like, I've always looked at that stuff like, that's what the tools and necessities I want my children to have.
What, exactly.
And then, like, my biggest thing for me, too, is because of the fact is everybody wants to put everybody in different categories, or you trying to be bougie. No, I want my kids to have knowledge, so when they leave me, they know everything they need. Not just only just because I'm teaching them what not to do, and I'm teaching them what to do and how you should do this. And I'm not wanting to be that bully. I want to be that best friend, but also that mother too. And it doesn't matter even if it's with a boy or a girl. But also, like, my biggest thing is, I was always taught from old people, basically. They always told me, don't ever talk about anybody anyway, because you never know their situation. And I look at that still to this day. Even though I was a child knowing that, I still look at it to this day. Because you don't know where people come from. You don't know their history. You don't know nothing about them.
No doubt.
So, and I tell my kids the same way. You can't judge a book from its cover if you're not opening it at the end of the day.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
So with everything that, like, and I feel everything, and I'm glad that I came, because it's great that I know that I'm on the right step.
Right. That's what makes it better. Absolutely.
But it's just like the things that, I mean, I don't mind. I want those kids. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I want them kids to talk about my kids like that. But you know what's gonna happen at the end of the day? By the time my son is 16, he'll know the necessities that he needs to know as being even growing up in this world. And knowing by my daughter, I know for a fact that I won't have to feel uncomfortable in this world that she is not knowing the things that she needs to know. Because I don't want them just to be, oh yeah, success, they need money. No, I want them to literally know in this world, when you leave here, this is what you need to know because of this.
No doubt.
This is what you need to know because of this. And it is going to be in a category, but you're going to still know these things because I want you to leave me with some smarts. I don't want you to
No
be
doubt.
wrong.
No doubt.
And make the wrong decisions that I done did because I'm making sure I don't make them decisions my mom and my dad made.
Right.
Because they made too many. And it's funny because, like I said, my dad did 12 years in the penitentiary. And the only thing that he said that always stayed to me, you don't have time for bad decisions. And the reason why he said that is because of the fact is that the time that he made those bad decisions, he's making up for them. And I have the time to make the good decisions, to do the right thing, and just don't make his wrong decisions.
That's good. That's good. So then that means that the thing that we don't want is our children to duplicate our bad decisions.
Right.
I want them to make different new bad decisions.
Right.
That I didn't make, that I didn't even know it was a bad decision. Like, let your bad decisions be brand new to the table. Right. Like, let your bad decisions be bad decisions that haven't been heard of before. Right. But surely I don't want you to make my same bad decisions. If you make my same bad decisions, it's a problem. That means that I didn't transfer the information properly, so you didn't make my same bad decisions.
You're making a generation thing, really.
No doubt. No doubt, no doubt. But that's what it is. It's just all about making sure that when they leave out of our sight, they are properly prepared.
Right.
Because if they are properly prepared, then they will always be protected. Instead of us trying to protect them and then they're not prepared. So instead of me trying to protect my daughter from tasting that dang on sour candy that I know that she didn't like, I had to go in the role of prepare so she can taste it and understand that that's not what she would want. So now she don't do it again. So she can learn how to make a better decision. So she can be prepared. I didn't try to protect my daughter from that ill experience that I knew that she was about to have. I was more focused on making sure that she is prepared for life, because she's going to be faced with making decisions, and she got to go out there and get the proper information to make a quality decision. And if she doesn't, then guess what? It's going to end up in a bad space. That's what it's about. So then that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that they have the right type of character, and that's the goals. So then that means that when my children do wrong, remember when we was talking about when they might not do what they needed to do? right? And they did wrong. Even when they did wrong, what am I going to see in that wrong? The right. I'm going to address the wrong, but I'm also going to let them know about the right. And this is the difficult part, because so often when they do the wrong, only thing that gets consumed is just the wrong. So if my son is getting in the shower on his own, remember that story? My son getting in the shower on his own in the 4th grade, and we rocking and rolling, he getting on the bus and everything else, and then I realize that man, I go in there and he ain't, man, using no soap or no washcloth. Right? Right? When I go into his bathroom and I see his soap and I see the washcloth in the corner of the tub and he just brushed past me with the towel around his waist and a wet body, and he give me the head nod like I'm doing my thing, Dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no doubt, son, you doing your thing, man. You regulating yourself. Man, you doing your thing, man. Beautiful thing. You getting in the shower on your own. You getting ready for school on your own, man. You getting up on your own in the 4th grade, no doubt. And then when I realized that he wasn't actually using the soap, and then when I asked him and say, son, you ain't using the soap when you getting in the shower? Do you use soap when you get in the shower? And then he comes back to me and he says, no, Dad, because it takes too long. And when I say, oh, okay, right, how do I handle that situation? I say, man, okay, I see it, son, man, no doubt, man. Hey, man, but I see you getting in the shower on your own. You getting up on your own, which is a beautiful thing. Man, that's what it takes, man. You regulating yourself. You're going to be in a good space when you become an adult, when you doing things like that, right? Not only that, man, but you telling me the truth. You telling me the truth is a powerful thing. A lot of adults, they lie to avoid the consequences, but you was ready to take those consequences right on. This is the exchange that we having. And I know that him having to get back in the shower is might make him late for the bus, and I'm gonna have to take him to school. But I still gotta handle the situation responsibly, because I gotta protect the relationship. And I still gotta let him know that he did do right in the situation, although I'm still going to address the wrong. And then that's when I came in and say, but son, man, you not using soap, man. It's gonna be things growing out the crevices of your body that you don't want, man. Like funguses, man, tough acting tenactin is gonna be calling you in a couple of weeks if you don't, like, man, use soap. Soap is there for a reason, right? And
Pictures too.
yeah, huh?
Have you showed the pictures too?
Oh, no, he actually got it after a couple weeks, and he was like, this stuff is flamed. My feet is flamed. Like, my feet is the bloods, man. They flamed up, man. Like, he's like, man, jeez, these puppies is burning, right? And I said, I told you, tough acting tenactin, right? Like, let me get that for you. But that brother's so focused now, making sure he wash it between the crevices of his feet and everything with the soap and everything. That brother gets it in because he felt that athlete's foot ain't no joke, right? But I addressed the negative. You see what I'm saying? I addressed the negative, and then I said, but son, you're going to have to get back in the shower and take a shower again using the soap, and you're going to have to cut your little time playing your Xbox because you got to take, another shower with the soap. I addressed the negative, but how did I start off that situation, that exchange? I had started it off with what he did that was right before I told him what was wrong. And then I sandwiched it with the right again. But, son, hey, man, after you get this together, man, you're going to be on a whole nother level. You getting up on your own, you telling the truth, man, and now you're going to add soap to the equation when you getting in the shower, man, you're going to be on a whole nother level, man. I'm telling you, for a 4th grader, beautiful thing. And you can just see his demeanor just shift because he's like, yeah, I am. And he took him having to get back in the shower completely different. If I would have just came to him and said, man, what's wrong with you? You think you smarter than everybody else, man. That's your problem. Get your dang on butt back in the shower. Now you're going to be late for school. I'm so sick and tired of you doing stuff, man, all the time, thinking that you one-upping everybody, thinking that can't nobody catch you. I caught you. Get your butt back in the shower before I whip your dang on butt. If I would have did it like that, only thing that I told him was the things that he did that was wrong. And if I do that, what am I compromising? Everything. I'm definitely compromising his confidence, because what he's going to start to say to himself is that, because usually this is not going to be no isolated event. This happens again and again and again in different scenarios. So what he's going to start to say is that I can't get right. Because the only thing that you told me is about the wrong. So it is no right in me because you didn't identify no right in me. You ain't told me about no right. The only thing that you told me is about my wrong. And because the only thing that you told me is about my wrong, not only am I going to feel negatively about you, because the only thing that you see in me is wrong, only thing I see in you now is wrong. And now I really don't like you. But I also see just wrong in me. And I'm going to show you some more wrong. Since that's what gets so much respect, I'm going to do more wrong. Because that's who I am. I'm a failure. Children will start to tell themselves that they're a failure. And one thing that I realized, and when I go inside of the prisons and work inside of the prisons, one thing that I hear people say is, man, you know what, I'm just a failure. And I got to correct them because they've been telling themselves that they are a failure for all of these years because their parents had told them that they were failures. And I got to tell them that failure is not an actual person. It is an event. That's the difference. And people think that it's a person. Failure is an event. It happens.
Everybody does.
It's an event. So that's what we got to do to make sure that we accomplish these goals with our children. All right? Next layer that we peel back to establishing a strong, positive relationship. And we're going to brush right along so we can get into this next chapter. The next layer that we peeling back to build a strong, positive relationship was what? The art of listening. Nothing says that we are there for a person more than just to listen. Why is that so important? Because when I listen to you, I am getting an understanding of what's inside of you. How can I get an understanding of somebody if I don't take the time to listen? I can't. And if I don't have an understanding of you, then surely we're going to have a weak relationship because I'm going to mishandle you every turn of the way because I don't even know what you like, what you don't like. I don't know none of that stuff because I haven't taken the time to listen to you. You've been talking, but I haven't been listening. Why I haven't been listening is because I believe you are not that important to me. If you are important to me, then I would take time to listen because I want to have an understanding. I don't want to mishandle you. So then that's why I invest into the time. That's why I invest into you by listening. I'm going to get an understanding of you. I'm not just going to guess. I'm going to see how you want to be handled by you. I'm not going to fill in the blanks myself. How many people come to conclusions and they ain't asked the person that they dealing with what it is that they want?
I do it all the time. I'm guilty.
I know.
Because when you said it, I felt that so deep. I was like, ooh, it's some people. I need to start listening.
I'm telling you.
Ooh.
This is heavy duty. And this, I'm telling you, like, and you are not alone. You are not alone. This stuff happens on a regular basis. Why do you think the world is like it is? Why do you think it's so much conflict in the world today? Because people are not listening to one another. If people would listen to one another, people will be able to understand what each other's needs are. And those needs can be met. It doesn't have to be a compromise. Each person's needs can be met if we just listen to each other. It doesn't have to be a I win, you lose situation. It can be a I win, you win situation. But we have to listen to one another. And that takes effort, it takes time. When I am listening, that means that I am giving you my attention. I am getting an understanding because I don't want to interact with you in the wrong way. Listening is key. So when we understand that listening is important, what do we got to do to let that person know that we are actually listening to them? What are the things that we can do? Eye contact, right? That eye contact lets somebody know that we are listening. What's the next thing that we can do?
Feedback.
Nod the head.
Yeah, feedback. Yeah.
Nod the head. The positive feedback lets somebody know that you are listening, right? Nod the head, eye contact, summarizing what's being said. Because when I summarize what you are saying, then you say to yourself in regard to me that I got to be listening to you because I was able to summarize what you said. Right? Good. Yep, no doubt. The short phrases. That's letting somebody know that you are engaged to the conversation. Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. Most definitely. Okay.
Summarizing though,
I
you
see.
take, like, what you're saying is kind of shortening it up and putting it back into
Right. So if my son comes to me and says, Dad, man, I just won Green Day, I'm going to be like, Green Day? Wow. I just summarized it. He says, Dad, I just won Green Day at school. I was able to pass out the candy on Friday. I'm going to be able to pass out the candy on Friday. I'm going to be like, Green Day at school? Wow. I'm not taking over the conversation. I'm just guiding the conversation along. I am listening. I'm just letting him know that I am listening so he can be confident that I am receiving the information that he has given to me. So I'm saying Green Day, and now I'm going to name what he might be feeling. When I name what you might be feeling, then you know that I got to be listening to you.
But it's kind of hard, like when a person's not listening. Like say, for instance, you said his part was Green Day. You're like, Green Day? Or, huh? A person's not going to keep talking to you.
Right. Because it's like, hold up. But when I give you like Green Day and then I'm letting you know that I'm engaged because you are excited. So now I'm going to give you the empathetic facial expressions that matches your feelings. Empathy means to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. That means that I'm feeling what you are feeling. So my facial expression. Oh.
You get fired up, bro.
Right. So my facial expressions, they show you that I'm in your shoes. When you say Green Day, my facial expression is going to reflect that. Green Day? Empathetic facial expressions. That means excitement, right? You are excited. And now I'm going to name what you might be feeling. Wow, you must be excited, right? Like, that's what I'm doing to let you know that I'm engaged to the conversation. So I'm giving you the eye contact. I'm nodding the head. I'm summarizing what's being said. Green Day. I'm doing the empathetic facial expressions. Wow, you must be excited. I'm naming what you might be feeling. All of these things is just getting my child to continue on with the conversation. And not only that, but feel confident in bringing things to me. And what we do a lot of times, especially with children, is that they come with things that might be insignificant to us as adults. And we think that, man, you know what? I'm not really trying to hear about that. I got bills. I got to go ahead and make stuff happen at work today. My relationship is off track. I got to make stuff happen with my relationship. I'm going through stuff. And then they coming to us about some Green Day, we might not be present, right? Because in our minds, it's like, man, I ain't got time to be listening to this stuff you talking about.
I feel that way with most adults.
Right. Same thing, right? Same thing. But when we do that, what happens is that we are cheating ourselves, and when they start to become older, they're going to get a certain feel from you, right? Because now they saying, hey, when I came to you with the insignificant things to you, you thought they was insignificant because they were to you, but they were really significant to me, right? I'm going to learn how not to bring you anything else. So now it's just going to be surface. So now when I'm thinking about having sex when I'm a teenager, I'm not coming to you about it. I'm going to go to my peers and ask them, man, what do you think I should do? So now I'm going to be left with the information from my peers, the advice from my peers on how to make this decision when I should be coming to you because you got the experience that I need. But I can't come to you because you didn't put in the work when I was talking about Green Day. And I don't have the confidence in you that I need to have. This is a decision that we got to make. So when the younger that they are, you can't even hardly tell what the heck they saying. And but I still be going through the motions like, wow, no doubt. And they be talking. She be talking. And I'll be like, for real? Wow, you must be excited, right? And I'll be like, no doubt. But the only thing that I'm doing is continuing to increase the confidence in me with my children. Just building that relationship. Remember, strong relationships are paradise, weak relationships are hell. And the cornerstone of a strong relationship is the communication. And the biggest part in the communication process is the art of listening. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. If we just take the time to listen, that will go a long way as far as a relationship is concerned. And it doesn't take any money for you to listen. It takes your attention for you to listen, for you to just be present and say that, man, you matter to me so much that I'm going to give you my undivided attention. Why do you think people pay $180 to lay on a couch? That person who is telling that psychiatrist isn't coming up with some real life solutions. They just allowing that person to be heard because they've come up in households to where they haven't been heard. And then when they go to work, nobody listens to them. When they are in their relationships, nobody listens to them.
Prison groupies pay more than that.
Oh my gosh. But the thing about it is when I'm listening to my children, I'm giving them the tools that they need to have when they become adults. Because now, and not only that, but when they go amongst their peers and they see their peers not listening to them, what are they going to do? They're going to say, hold up. You, my friend, you ain't listening to me? That lets me know that you don't care about me. And if you don't care about me, you are going to mishandle me. I'm going to get a bad experience messing around with you, joker, because you letting me know that you don't care about me because you don't listen to me. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. And not only that, but when they go out, they are going to listen to people. And when they listen to people, people are going to be attracted to them because they say, man, hey, man, such and such just listens to me. I feel like I'm important. You feel important when somebody listens to you. You feel like you matter when you are being listened to. So when our children are being listened to, they feel like that they matter. They feel like that what they think matters. They feel like what they say matters. Now their confidence is where it needs to be. The relationship is where it needs to be. So now they won't go outside of you and be so thirsty to be listened to and be willing to accept anything and be in bad situations, bad relationships. Why relationships be so bad? Why do they be so bad? They be so bad because people are not listening to one another. If you just listen to each other, then the relationship would be more harmonious. But because of the lack of listening, it's misunderstandings. You being mishandled and the other person is being mishandled. Because they ain't listening. It's like listening. And nothing says that it's about me more than not to listen. But when I come to you and I say, let me listen to you, I'm telling you, man, I'm bringing me to you. It's about you. I'm not taking over the conversation because that's what can happen. Take over the conversation. I'm not labeling. I'm not criticizing. I'm not comparing. Oh, man, I wouldn't have never done none of that because all of that stuff creates the negative feelings inside of an individual. Because now you're making a conversation about who? About you. When you're taking over the conversation, it's like, I'm not listening. I have no time to listen. I want to tell you what I got going on. It's about me. Yeah, you came talking about what you got going on, but I want to tell you about me, so I need to take it over.
It's hard to find a happy medium in between them. If somebody's coming to you for your advice and, you're not necessarily... It's hard to find a happy medium sometimes.
But make sure that they are coming to you for advice. Yeah. So sometimes they're not coming to you for advice. They're coming to you just for you to listen. Yeah. I'm in a space now to where I'm not offering no advice, and this stuff be hard. But I'm not going to offer no advice unless you say what you think.
Right. That's what yeah.
Because sometimes you'll feel negatively if you come into me telling me about everything that you got going on and I'm telling you what to do, and then it's like, hold up, man, what you telling me what to do, man? I ain't, who you think you know it all. You think you smart. So I just be like, nope, Like, man, hey, I ain't going to offer this advice unless you ask for it. Because you ain't come to me for advice. You came to be listened to. And that's what connects the hearts. Even when, some of my people ask me for advice, I'll be like, you sure you want it? Because I'm going to give it to you like I see it. Before you ask, like, you sure?
No filtered blunt.
Right, you sure?
That's how I got to be. Like, you got to be butt about it. Like,
right.
not honest about it. That's how some people prefer.
Absolutely.
You have someone to be more direct and guiding your life the way they're trying to get it.
Absolutely.
They say, you know, you can't tell the truth. Everybody can't take the truth though. That's the funny thing about it.
The truth hurts. Take a good
Yeah, I'm about to say that. The truth will always hurt.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so crazy. It's just now people not used to it.
No
That's
doubt.
the problem.
Absolutely.
Lack
But it
of
still needs to be told.
Yeah.
Right?
Live a lie.
Right. 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 So, all right. So let's move on. So then the next layer that we peeled back was the forgiveness. Remember we talked about the forgiveness, the 3 prongs to forgiveness to establishing a strong positive relationship. The 3 prongs to forgiveness is what? Asking for forgiveness, forgiveness of self, and then forgiveness of others. We want to make sure that we ask our children for forgiveness. Why? Because it shows them the respect that's needed. It lets them know that we respect them as individuals. When we say that, man, I see that I've done wrong, and I apologize for the wrong that I've done with you, child. So often as parents, we don't ask our children for forgiveness because we feel like that you just a child anyway. Why I gotta ask you for forgiveness? Just get over it. And the best thing that we do is what? We just act overly nice, but we don't really follow it up. Right, we do wrong or whatever and we just act extra nice, right? We don't really follow it up with the real life, man, I'm sorry for that, right? We just act overly nice and be like, hey, wanna go get some ice cream today? You know, and we don't want to really follow it up with, man, I'm sorry. And that does so much. It do so much for you, and it also does a lot for them in regards to the relationship, right? Because when I say that I'm sorry, it helps me to really start to correct that wrong even more. Because that's the last thing that we want to do as human beings is say we're sorry, right? But when we do that, it helps us, and it helps it helps our evolution. So then that's why we want to make sure that we ask our children for forgiveness. It respects their identity. It respects them as individuals. It lets them know that, hey, man, I ain't got it all together. And it also lets them know how to go and admit to their wrongs and then apologize and then correct their wrongs. So often what happens is that people, they be moving like they ain't doing no wrong. Now, just because you move like you ain't doing no wrong, does it mean that the wrong isn't there? Okay, so if the wrong is still there, then it will continue to deteriorate the quality of your life. It is your responsibility to admit the wrong. But people don't want to admit the wrong because they don't want to admit failure, because they have been made to feel like that when you fail, you are less than. So then what do? They avoid the failure. And because they avoid failure, their life will always be mediocre. So what you got to do is you got to admit the wrong. I've done wrong. Now I'm going to correct the wrong. This is what we are teaching our children when we apologize, when we say that we are sorry. And it strengthens the relationship because now you are letting them know that you are not perfect, which nobody is. After we ask for forgiveness, now what do? We forgive ourselves. That means that I'm going to forgive myself. Why? Because I understand that we are flawed individuals. I understand that I am a flawed individual. So then that means that I come to this earth to make mistakes. Pencils come with erasers for a reason, because human beings are made to make mistakes. We are going to make mistakes in life. No human being on the face of this earth has lived a life without mistakes. Errors are part of growth. So now, understanding that gives me the ability to be able to forgive myself, because I'm just living out my humaneness. I'm just being a human being when I make errors. This is necessary for us to be able to continue to progress. The forgiveness process helps us to be able to progress in life. When I forgive myself, that means that I'm not going to hold nothing over my head. I'm not going to hold my past over my head. That's what I did. It's what I'm doing that dictates where I'm going. I done seen parents say, man, going through the class, they done said, man, you know what, hey, Man, I done did some stuff, man. I ain't been listening to my children. I done been, man, looking at the negative. I wasn't even thinking about the positive. And they was like, man, I done did all of this stuff. You should have seen, man, I've been crazy in the relationship between me and my children. And then they say, man, but you know what? I didn't know, but now I know. So now that I know, I'm going to start to do different. So because I'm going to start to do different, that gives me the right to forgive myself. Because I'm not that same individual. So you can't hold the same thing over my head from what I did. I'm a new individual now. My son, I got incarcerated when he was 3 months old. When I came home, he was 10 years old. I had to come home and I said, man, you know what? Hey, I asked him for forgiveness, but I had to forgive myself. So then that means that the only way that I can be an effective parent is if I had forgiven myself. Because if not, then my son could have came home and took advantage of me. He could have said, you know what? I'm going to need you to go ahead and get that Xbox by Friday. I know you're feeling guilty for not being there. Not only do you need to get that Xbox, but you also need to give me Jordans by Monday. Now play with me if you want me to bring it up? You wasn't there. I did 10 years without you. But when I presented myself to him, I let him know, son, man, I got busy when I was in the joint. I redesigned myself. I'm a whole different type of individual now. And it's going to be from this day on, we going to a whole nother level. So he couldn't hold that over my head because he seen that I wasn't holding it over my head. I forgave myself because I understood that I was a flawed individual when I made those decisions when I was 13. I was insecure. I didn't understand. I was operating off of a lack of information. I didn't have the right information. I was given bogus information by people in the hood, and I thought it was to be true. I made a bad decision. So now when I came to my son, I said, man, you know what? I understood the decision that I made, and I've done work overtime to correct my errors in my thinking. So you don't have to go another 10 years without me. So now him at 23 years old, he got access to me. He hits me up all the time. Remember, I came home, I was able to get the custody of my son. He graduated from high school, went to college. But I was focused on being the father that I needed to be. The only way that I could have did that is if I had forgave myself. So I had to tell him, no, son, man, I'm not about to get you another car. You didn't put the oil in that engine. The engine locked up on you. Now you ain't driving my car. I got to give you the consequences that you got coming.
Natural consequences.
Natural consequences. Natural consequences. And that's the next page. That's the next page, right? After the forgiveness piece, the next layer was the respectful discipline. Understanding that discipline what? Means to teach. Whereas punishment means to hurt or harm. When we are in punishment mode, that establishes a negative relationship. But when we are in discipline mode, that establishes a strong positive relationship. And it garners the respect that we are looking for from our children. Discipline is a beautiful thing. It's the punishment that creates the negative feelings. So we want to make sure that we are in discipline mode. So now understanding that is the two consequences that we are up against. The logical consequence, which means it's a consequence that fits the actual offense. And then it's the natural consequence, which means it's a consequence that life has already dealt the individual, and we just got to support that natural consequence. So when my son said that he wasn't going to put the oil in the car, even though that was his responsibility, we got him the car. His responsibility was to maintain the car, and he not putting oil in the car. Guess what happens? The engine locks up. So then what I tell him is that you either got to put another engine in the car, or you just go ahead and scrap it for a couple $100 and see what you can do with that. You know, but it's your car, because we bought you the car. I'm not going to add another consequence to the situation. Why? Because it's already one there. He's without car, and he's going to feel it when he got to go somewhere. And he got to call people up for rides. And he got to wait for people to come up and pick him up. It's nothing worse. That stuff is, I'm telling you, that stuff is no joke.
That's trying to see if they're your friends.
Right. And then that's when you'll see. Right. And for me, I'm telling you, that was one of the things that challenged me so much. My ace, man, when I first got out, that brother he was coming, he picked me up, man. It was like 4:00 in the morning or whatever. I was in the halfway house and I was going to these jobs in Solon. I was in Cleveland. I'm going in Solon trying to get these jobs all over. I'm trying to get a job anywhere, right? So I was going to interviews early, right? And I was leaving out, but every time he would come, he would pick me up over there by the bus stop because we weren't allowed to have no cars pick us up or whatever, but he would pick me up around the corner. But every time that brother would come at least 15 minutes late. And I used to be like, man, this stuff crazy. He used to be like, Los, you got to give me 10, 15 minutes. I used to be like, dang, man, it just wasn't good enough for me. I said, man, I need to be picked up on time, man. Like, this stuff crazy. But I went through it. It was a part of the process. But I said to myself, man, I got to get my own car, man, because I can't be sitting up here waiting on people to come pick me up, man. You know, like, that stuff is stressful, man. That stuff is stressful. Even the bus don't come on time. I be like,
You might have to be there an hour early then.
right. I'm telling you, like, it's just so inconvenient. The stuff is so inconvenient. You out there, you out the bus stop, that stuff ain't on time. Like, it get to raining, it get to snowing. I'm out there in Cleveland in the wintertime. It's snowing like a mug. It's sleeting, and I'm out there like, this stuff crazy. The bus all behind. Like, this stuff crazy. My dude ain't on time.
It's not about like a little bit. Because I live in Cleveland. It's like an hour or two.
Right. Right. It's like, they pull up kicking, and you be like, man, what you been doing? Like, I'll be like,
you think you're on time, but then the bus already around the corner. Like, man,
I'm telling you, I was like, man, I need to call Rita. I need to call Rita. Oh, Rita, R-I-T-A. That's the initials for Rita. I said, man, I need to call them, man, and tell them about their bus driver, man. They pull up, man, smoking miles and everything. Like, man, you smoking miles, man. What the heck? What you been doing? You pull up, man, leaning. Like, what the heck is going on, man? This is why you late? Like, I'm trying to get somewhere. And I'm out here in the cold. It ain't no shelter. It was before it was even shelter at the bus stop. There wasn't no shelter. It was just a bench.
They take their break. You sit right there in that bus.
Man, y'all taking me back, man. That stuff was crazy. That stuff was crazy. Right? But that's why we want to make sure that we are in discipline mode and not in punishment mode. So I just made sure that, I just supported the consequence that was there. I'm not going to add another consequence. It's already one there. Right? So then that's what we want to make sure. Respectful discipline is something that we definitely got to have with our children to continue to establish that strong, positive relationship. So now this layer that we peeling back today for the next layer is democracy at home. So what democracy at home is saying is this, and this is something that we do intentionally with our parenting, is saying that every voice in the household is heard. So then that means that you are giving your children a voice in the household. Now, when you got a voice in your company, when you got a voice in a relationship, don't you feel better about that situation? Yeah. Right? You feel negative when you feel like you don't have a voice, don't you?
Yeah, when it goes ignored, it goes in one ear. They say they listen, it goes in one ear, then out the other, and it's like, damn, okay.
Absolutely.
But you're steady applying their voice of what they
Right. So then that's what you want to make sure, is that you want to make sure that you are giving your children a voice. What are you doing with the power? See, this is something that you as parents have automatically been given. You've been given a level of power. What are you going to do with the power? How many people abuse power?
So many.
Right. Don't people abuse power? People abuse power. And that is the issue. You'll see what type of individual that you are when you get power. It will show you who you are when you get the power. I got the power now. I will squash you. You gonna do as I say. It ain't no explanation. So then this is what we want to do with our power as parents. We want to give them a voice. Even though we don't have to, we do that because we saying that, man, we respect the relationship and we are going to create harmony inside of our household. We are giving them a voice. Democracy at the home. So when we give our children a voice, that produces positive feelings inside of them in regard to us because they understand that we don't have to give them a voice. This is another strategy that we use to establish the strong positive relationship. So what does giving them a voice looks like, right? So I remember one time my son, he says, Dad, man, I think that my curfew, not my curfew, but I think that my bedtime should be at 9:30. You know, he's like, man, the reason why it should be at 9:30 is because, man, I just feel like, man, I'm getting older and it should be at 9:30. And I said, okay, son, you know, giving him a voice. He's coming to me. He's saying that what he believes that his bedtime should be. It was at the time, it was like at 8 o'clock. He's like, man, he said it should be at 9:30. So now when he came with that, what did I say? I'm giving him a voice. I say, okay, son, well, you come back to me tomorrow at 6 o'clock and you let me know why you believe that your bedtime should be at 9:30. I'm intentional with what I'm doing, right? I'm telling him to go back to his corner and figure out why his bedtime should be at 9:30. So what am I doing? I'm giving him the space to be able to move the needle. You got to come with a reason. It's just not going to go to 9:30 just because you come to me and say it should be at 9:30. One, it don't work that way. Life is not like that. You got to say why. Why do you believe that? Tell me some supporting data to support what you're talking about. I'm just developing a certain type of individual. So now what do you think that happens between that time and 6 o'clock when it's time for him to meet? What do you think that he's going to be doing? He's going to be thinking, right? He's going to come with a perfect argument in his mind of why his bedtime should be at 9:30. What does that mean? That means that he is putting in work. That means he is bringing value back to the table. He's going to come with the reasons why his bedtime should be at 9:30. I'm developing a certain type of individual when I'm doing this, when I'm giving him his voice. So when he comes back at 9:30, when he comes back at 6 o'clock the next day, and I said, son, what's going on? Okay, tell me what's going on. And he says, man, Dad, man, the reason why it should be at 9:30 is because, one, I'm getting up on my own every day, right? And getting myself to school, right? I'm getting in the shower, and plus I'm using the soap now. Right? I'm like, no doubt. Right, this is facts, right? Like, you are using the soap, no doubt, that's dope, right? I'm like, okay, cool, no doubt. So I say, man, so I'm giving him the feedback. I'm letting him know that I'm listening to what he's saying by being engaged into the conversation. I'm summarizing what he said. I'm giving him the head nods. I'm giving him the empathetic facial expressions, all of that. I'm letting him know that I'm listening to him. I'm like, yeah, no doubt, okay, what else, son, what else? He says, man, okay. And I'm doing reading buddies. I did reading buddies the whole entire school year, and I brought my reading level up to I brought it up to above average. Remember, I was below average, but then I went to reading buddies, and I was still going to football practice at 6 o'clock, which he was. He was going to reading buddies as soon as he got out of school at the library from 3:30 to 4:30, and then he would come back home, get dressed for football, and then he would do football practice from 6 to 7:30, and then do his homework. So he was right. And I said, man, you're right. You did put in the work, did the reading buddies, you elevated your reading level, no doubt, on your own. Good stuff, and you still went to football practice, and you still was getting your homework done. So I'm summarizing what he's saying, just to let him know that I'm processing what he's saying. And then he says, man, but Dad, too, also, this is the next thing. He says, man, I just want to be able to watch, man, this show that comes on at 8:30, and it goes off at 9, and then I want to be able to play the Xbox until 9:30. And I said, oh, okay, no doubt. So you want to play the Xbox until 9:30. You want to watch your show, come on at 8:30. It goes off at 9. I dig it, right? So then I took everything that he said in, and then I came back with a decision. I said, son, this is what it's going to be. Man, your bedtime is going to be at 9 o'clock. And this is why. And he says, okay. So you could tell that he was still feeling kind of good. He was like, okay, cool. He's like, I said, but this is why. He's like, I said, man, 9:30 is just a little bit too late, for right now, because we still want to move it up as you get older. And right now, I think that from 8 to 9 is going to be just. And I understand with you getting up on your own, regulating yourself, and I understand you doing the reading buddies and things like that, and you want to watch your show at 8:30, it goes off at 9, so now you got the ability to be able to watch your show, but after you watch your show, it's bedtime. That's exactly what I packaged up for him. And he said, okay, Dad, cool. He's like, yes, okay, cool, yes. So what he was able to see is that what he brought to the table, he was able to move the needle. So now what is that increasing? His confidence in being able to tell somebody what he wants.
And developing facts behind it.
Right. Because so often what happens is that we find ourselves in bad situations in life is because we don't have the ability to be able to articulate what's inside of us. I want to develop my children in a way to where they can articulate what's inside of them to somebody else. Because if I can't articulate what's inside of me to you, then it's no way that you can get a proper understanding of me. I'm leaving it up to chance that you're going to figure it out. And what happens, people don't figure it out. And you sitting up there mad in a relationship because you didn't have the ability to be able to articulate what it is that you need, what it is that you want. And it's just like, how come you just can't figure it out? No, I don't want to figure it out. I want you to tell me so I can just do it. Or I can tell you, hey, listen, I can't do it. That's not something that I'm willing to do. You got to find somebody else. And we can be upfront. Ain't that why relationships be so bad? Because both parties are not telling each other what it is that they want, what it is that they need. They are leaving it up to the other person to figure it out. If I leave it up to you to figure it out, it's a good chance that you're not. And you are going to give me what you believe that I should have. Not what it is that I want, not what it is that I need. And the reason why you cannot give me what it is that I want, not what it is that I need, is because I could not articulate it properly for you to get an understanding. So then that's why I want to put my children in different situations to where they have the ability to be able to negotiate. So that's why I say, whatever I set in my house as far as the rules is concerned, is subject to change if you come with the right reasoning for it to change. I'm giving them a voice. I'm doing this on purpose. Not only am I establishing a strong relationship with them, but I'm also developing them into the individuals that I think that they need to be, which is a person who can articulate what's inside of them because they have been able to do it all throughout their childhood. Hey, I don't like this. This is why. And this is what I believe that I want, Dad. Now, are they going to get what they want every time? No. And I'll be able to tell them exactly why they are not getting it. But I want them to still feel comfortable enough to be able to voice their opinion. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen all of the time. My daughter will say, man, Dad, look at me. Look at me in the back seat. Look at me in the back seat, Dad. I'll look at the road. And I say, man, daughter, I'm driving. I cannot look at you in the back seat while you look at the road and I got my hand on the wheel. We're going to crash. I understand, but I'm not going to do that.
When you explain to her.
And I explained, right. I said, man, car going to crash and we ain't going to be okay. Right. Crash. And then she says, okay, Dad, you got to pay attention to the road.
It's funny, my kids do the same thing. I have another kid yell at another kid, like, we gonna die. You know what I'm saying? You already know she can't drive. Like, somebody always says something, but out of all 5 of them, somebody's saying, well, I usually have, like, my youngest one, he'll show me his picture, and I'm like, I'm driving. Then I got my second youngest one. She like, well, I did this in class today. You know, some parent pick up with all 5 of them. So they're all trying to tell me, and then one of them be like, oh yeah, we gonna die if we don't let her pay attention.
Right.
It's always something, but yeah, it's funny when they do that.
That's heavy duty. And they do that unconsciously, right?
Right, and they do it every time.
Right.
But not really understand
It's
it.
excitement.
Right.
Until you feel that car move, then you like, okay, you might
Oh, this, yeah, you might want to drive. Hold up, that was too.
We might go put our seatbelts
It's
on,
the-
on top of double it.
Man, I done been in situations where I done literally, and I done said, I done been backing out of the garage, and the garage was real small. This was when I was in my other spot. The garage was real small, and my daughter, she's like, Dad, look at her. And I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm backing out, and guess what happened? The dang on mirror hit the side of the garage, right? And I was like this close to, man, being like, man, you know, just operating off of my feelings, right? And my feelings was like, man, it's your fault. If I wasn't sitting up here trying to talk to you, I wouldn't have sit up here and brushed the mirror against the set. And it was a rental car too. And I said, man, this is crazy.
Oh my God, did you have insurance on it?
I did. You called me. I did, man. I did. That was my lower self kicked in. I glued that puppy back on. I got some Gorilla Glue. I had to glue. That was my lower self, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep it honest with y'all, man.
I would have did it. That's why I
I glued that puppy back on, man. I glued that puppy back on, man. And I turned that puppy back in.
Like, the quality check is like,
right, like it moved around. I'm like, jeez. I'm like, I was going through the car wash. That puppy was back hanging again. I was like, man, I gotta get some more glue. Let me.
scrubbed it just a little bit.
Like,
the other way, like,
that
don't
stuff
do
was
that.
crazy, man. That stuff was crazy. But what checked me was my mind, because my mind said that, man, I'm the one making the decisions here. I'm the one that made the decision to look back. I knew what needed to be done, but I allowed my daughter to run the situation. And I should have went on ahead. It was on me to go ahead and focus on the task at hand. I could have waited until I got out of the garage and said, nah, what you saying, daughter? Until then, I should have stayed focused on the task at hand. So then that's what calmed me down. And I'm telling you, it was all with inside. And this is why it's so important to make sure that we got the right things in our heads so our feelings don't dominate our behavior. Because if our feelings dominate our behavior, we're going to run through the relationships every time. We want our minds to dominate our behavior.
I think I'd be telling people off all day long.
Right, you'll be telling people off all day long because it'll be their fault. But when you sit down and think about it, it's really
Your fault for letting them in. No, I do that. I'm an honest, like, that's the problem, because I like to help people too much.
right.
And my thing is, since I help people so much, I listen to everybody's problems, but don't know how to give up my problem.
Right.
And knowing the solution for everything, for that, but like, oh, well, why is it so hard for me not to have this or do that, or what am I doing wrong? I'm really not really looking at the person that is making my problems, because I'm allowing people to get to me.
No doubt.
And then it's showing even with my kids as well too. You're allowing yourself and causing yourself more problems. You're allowing these things to happen to you.
Absolutely. It's like we are the ultimate managers of our lives, right? Who else is here to manage our lives but us? It's up to us. So I can't be mad because my 5-year-old is mismanaging. You know, it's because she's saying, Dad, forget that garage. We're going to go ahead and talk about this now. Like her mind operates in a certain way, right?
What happened?
No doubt. No doubt. So we got to understand that. But yeah, that was crazy because I was able to get myself through that. But yeah, so then that's democracy at the home. The next thing that we want to look at is creating harmony inside of the household. Creating harmony inside of the household so we can have a harmonious environment. That means that we are going to do things intentionally to have a harmonious environment. If we don't have a harmonious environment, what will we have? A war zone. And anytime that it's a war zone, information cannot transfer and it's going to be held. So we want to do things intentionally to establish to create a harmonious environment. And what can we do to create that? One of the things that I do is, listening all day long. But some other things that we can do, when we have our children needing to do tasks, we want to go ahead and participate with them. This is something that we can do that's going to create harmony. How? Because it's going to get the task done, one, and then they're going to feel good about doing the task. It's not going to feel like a drain. For example, Hey, time to brush your teeth. So when brushing teeth, I'll go ahead and brush my teeth with my daughter. My son, he older now. He don't be on it. Right? But my daughter, she's 5. She excited. Well, 3, 4, 5, she was excited to brush her teeth with me, right? She like, let's brush. It's better than me just telling her to go brush her teeth. Or me just coming in there and just brushing her teeth and say, come on, it's going to be a struggle. But when I go in there, what I found out, me participating in the task that I'm asking to get done, it creates the harmony because now she's excited because it's like, oh, this is some good time. I'm like, okay, we brushing our teeth together. So now we brushing our teeth. She's looking at me. I'm looking at her. This stuff, I'm always on Facebook and Instagram with this stuff too. You can see the video. Right, and she be on it, right? She like, man, let's get it in, and now it's like a competition. So she wants to race. So I'll be like, man, okay, I bet you I'll beat you brushing my teeth before you beat me. And she like, no, you ain't. So she's actually racing me, and I'm like, So am I going to allow her to win? Yes. Every single time, because the more that she wins, the more excited that she gets about racing. Because she's like, victory, I beat dad, right? So has she won? Yes. Did I win? Yes. Because she gets her teeth brushed, which is the only thing that I'm trying to do because I got to get her to daycare. Like I got a schedule to tend to. So instead of me just telling her and she not doing it and then I got to holler at her because I feel disrespected because they're not doing what I asked them to do, instead I avoid being put in a position to where I feel disrespected and I just go ahead and participate with her so we can get it done and she's having fun while we are brushing her teeth. I done did it all kind of different ways. So she'll say, Dad, let me brush your teeth and I'll brush your teeth and you can brush mine. I don't care. If that's what you want to do, let's do it like that then. Here, go ahead, do it. And I'm doing her. Now, do I stick with what she does? No, of course, I'm going to go ahead and finish the job. Like, I'm not going to go out there in the public with
half a toothbrush.
Like, off of her work, right? Because her work ain't that thorough. So I got to make sure. But I still allow her to feel like she's brushing my teeth. And she loves every bit of it. But she allows me to brush her teeth, right? It's like, hey, go ahead, Dad, get it on. And I'm getting the job done.
Leading by example also.
All day long. What are we doing here? We are creating harmony. Only thing that I'm doing is preventing myself from having to holler. So I'm either turning it into a game or I'm participating where I'm doing it as well.
Plus, they get to learn the proper way to do it. Like,
Absolutely right. The dentist like, man, you know what? She got some gold. Her teeth is like pearly white, man. Her teeth is beautiful, right? Because she brushes them on a regular basis. But it's good stuff because she finds that as a game or just it's an experience. Where she like, man, yeah. So it takes, and you can see the videos. The videos is last for like 6-7 minutes to where we brushing our teeth and doing all of that stuff. But guess what? That's right in alignment with the time that it needs to get done. So instead of me saying, man, brush your teeth, and then I'm going to get dressed, and then I'm doing all that I'm doing, and then I come back 10-15 minutes later, and she still ain't brushed her teeth. Now I'm upset because she ain't brushed her teeth, and I'm running late, and now I'm going to scream at her because she ain't brushed her teeth, and now I'm really on edge. I say, nope, I'm going to go ahead and participate and get it done in 7 minutes. So she says, man, you know what? I like this stuff. Positive relationship, positive environment, harmonious environment. I prevent myself from having to holler. Right? Another thing that we can do to create harmony in the household is allowing them to help out. Again, this brings value back to the table. Anytime that people are allowed to help out, it always gives you a positive feeling. Don't you feel best when you have the ability to be able to give? I'm just saying, though.
Yeah.
You feel best, don't you? Don't you feel best?
Like it makes you want to go do more stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's natural. Like that's a part of us. Like we feel best when we are in a position to be able to give. Like when you got even, it's like, man, yeah, I can give you some information right now. You feel good when you are giving it. That's when you are at your best. The time that you feel most depleted is when you are just taking. The times that you feel the most best are when you are giving. It's crazy. Rather you are giving your advice, giving your experience. Whether you giving your time, you feel the most best. So when our children have the ability to give and have the ability to participate, ability to help, that creates harmony inside of the household. It makes them feel positive about the situation, right? So now my daughter, for example, she sweeps. I do the kitchen. I'm in the pen. I do my thing, man. So it's just like, so I'll be having to keep up. I got my daughter week on, week off, and I got my son 5 days of the week, go to his mother on the weekends. But I'll be having to commit to keeping the house clean, right? Because it's like, it's us and that puppy. So I'll be having to make sure I got to stay on top of it. So I clean the kitchen at night before I go to bed. It's like, man, I don't want the stuff to be all crazy. So I'm like, man, you know what? Hey, let me do the dishes, and my daughter back there in the background sweeping up, right? My son, he doing the living room. Like, this is a team effort. And they feel better about the situation. And not only do they feel better, but it's also helping me out because they helping out so it don't feel like it's just all on me.
And they're building their value.
That's what we do. We make a game out of it.
Absolutely right.
Who can do it the fastest? That's what we do.
That's next level. Man, that's next level. My daughter, she'll sit up there and ask me to use my Bluetooth speaker and be like, let me go ahead and put the song on. And she was singing the one, she had that puppy blasting. What was that? Gwen Stefani's joints, the Bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. It's bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. She's singing into the broom. It's bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Yes. But she doing her thing and she getting the job done, right? But this is what I'm talking about in creating harmony. Even with, the cooking, allowing them to help with the cooking. So if I'm sitting up there frying some chicken, I'm like, man, you know what? Hey, come on. She like, let me help. Children always want to help. It's just what it is. We got to capitalize on their desire to help because when they have the ability to help, it makes them feel better and it makes the environment even better, right? So now when they helping, it's like, man, is it going to take longer for me to fry this chicken? Yes, it will. Because when she got the chicken and I'm telling her to drop it into the flour, she like this. I'm like, man, drop it. Like, dang, man, like, just drop the dang on chicken, right? That's how I feel. And it's like, man, it ain't got to be perfect. Just drop the chicken. Like, dang, we got 10 more pieces to put up in here. Like, please just drop the chicken, right? That's how this is what I'm saying on the inside. But I'm like, yeah, come on, let's drop it. Come on, I'm trying to brush. I'm trying to guide her to it. Like, just drop the chicken. Okay, get another one. Right, yeah, I'm like, let me flip it around. Yeah, you dropped it, flip it. Okay, cool, that's cool. And I got to flip it around more to make it sure. But I'm like, but she's still feeling like that she is helping. But that's what I do to create harmony inside of the household. These things that we can do that are intentional. Can we do it? Yes. We can do all of this stuff. It's just about, are we willing to do it?
You have to be.
That's all that it's about. That's all that it's about. So that is creating harmony inside of the household and democracy at the home, right? This is another layer to establishing a strong, positive relationship with our children. That's what it's all about. Remember, a strong, positive relationship, it gives us the ability to be able to transfer the information. It grants us the influence that we desire. But it's work that needs to be put in order to gain it. A positive relationship is reserved for those people who are willing to put in the work. It's not going to happen just because you want it. It's not going to happen because you need it. The ground will not produce no crops because you look at the ground and say that you are hungry. It's just not. I don't care. You can.
You better say you gotta plant that seed first, and if you don't plant that seed, your kids ain't gonna come.
If you ain't planting the seed, the ground will not produce no crop. The only way that the crops will be produced is if you plant the seed into the ground. It doesn't matter if you come to the ground and say, ground, I need some food. I'm hungry. The ground will look at you and smile. It's not going to give you no food. The only way that the food will come out of the ground is when you come with the seed and you plant the seed. This is the law. You can't get around it. The only way that the strong relationship will be established is when we plant the seed that is necessary for a strong relationship to flourish. If we don't plant, we ain't gonna get it. It don't matter if we need it. It don't matter if we even want it. Doesn't matter. What are we willing to do? We got to understand how important it is, and then we got to be willing to do
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. That means it's no limit to what I'm willing to give for that strong relationship with my children, because I want them to be in a place that I know that they need to be. They need that from us.
There's so many distractions out there now.
It's so many distractions. It's so many distractions. There's so many things pulling at us. There's trying to, pull us away from what we need to be doing. That's trying to take our focus. Remember, only thing that you can control is what? Your attitude and your focus. You can't control nobody else. You can't control the rain. You can't control nothing. You can't control the sun. You can't control nothing. Only thing that you can control is your attitude and your focus. What is your attitude and where is your focus at? My focus is on my work. My focus is on my work.
Number one job.
My number one job, no doubt. That's what it is. If my focus is on everything else, then everything else falls into place. And my life won't be the way that it needs to be. So, with that being said, man, that's 3.5 hours, 3 hours and 5 minutes, man. I appreciate y'all, man, sticking it out. Yeah, no doubt. I know, man. Sheesh. I'm telling you. Hey, y'all, I'm telling you, like, man, sheesh, man. Hey, my whole body be feeling it after I get done with these stuff, man. I'm telling you, man.
Make that hour and a half drive.
Right. No doubt. Yeah. So that's what I give y'all. So it'd be an hour and a half drive for here. Y'all gonna get 3 hours of me. Right, like, y'all gonna double up. I'm gonna double up, y'all. You know, absolutely. Y'all gonna get 3 hours, man. No doubt.
Do you have one of these workbooks or something?
Yeah, I'll bring them.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
No, she done called me like 3 times, but I just want to be myself.
Absolutely.
So I have this for a whole month and a half. I've been trying to spend time with him.
That's good, man.
Yesterday, we should have spend time with him.
Right.
Till 5:30 today. I don't know how long, but I just want to see myself. He knows what that is. He's nice and dada, and he's walking around. He's running around now.
Right.
And he's doing a thing now where he's stomping.
Right.
This things I ain't get to.
No doubt.
Get to see as he's, you know what I'm saying? I seen where he was falling. He's just starting to walk, and now he's running all around. Now he's
right
in his groove, man.
Take advantage of the time right now, man.
Bruh,
right. That's what it is.
After this happened,
no doubt,
like,
absolutely.
I appreciate it every day, every second I have with him, because it's like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Never know what can happen.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you,
No
even
doubt.
though I don't know your name.
Carlos.
Carlos.
Yep.
Okay.
Ike?
That's my nickname.
Ike, okay, absolutely. Nice to meet you. I appreciate you coming and
Thank
sticking
you.
it out
Yeah.
for the whole 3, right?
I would have probably stayed a little bit longer, and I was looking at it like, I don't know how long it was.
Right. right. Man, I'm gonna tell you,
told me
it's supposed to be like an hour and a half.
Was it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like hour and a half sessions. But
That's
when
that energy. That's where it come
absolutely.
in. That's what it is.
Right, absolutely. But when it's new people like Shandy, this is her second time.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that y'all get all of the material that we've covered.
Right.
So y'all don't miss out on none of the material. So then that's why I go through each session like I do. Right. So yeah, that stuff ain't no joke though.
Yeah, and I get what she's coming from too. Like, I mean, I went from Pinterest to even looking up charts to looking up online to just experience of making sure I don't do the same exact thing for my kids as well too.
No doubt.
So like, and I'm a strict parent by itself, even I was with their father as well too.
Right.
So like, and I make sure I want them to know the needs that they need to know, so when they do leave, I mean, I won't have to worry, even though that you in second grade or third grade.
Right.
At least
No
I know
doubt.
that you're not making the wrong decisions when you leave, because you're also you're also showing this is how our household is.
Right, no doubt.
So
Absolutely
that's the
right.
biggest thing.
That's heavy duty.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you said that, you said, man, you just want to make sure, that they are prepared.
For the
that
world.
they got the tools.
Right.
When they go out there.
We don't know what this world's gonna bring us. We don't know what tomorrow gonna bring, next week or whatever.
Right.
But I still want them to understand.
But you gonna know that they're gonna have the tools to deal with it.
Right.
Whatever it brings, you confident in them having the tools to be able to deal with it. And that's our responsibility. That's all you can do. And where they end up is where they're gonna end up. And it's gonna be in a good place. In my mind.
Yeah, and that's what I always try to remind myself too. I definitely do, even though that I look at all the worst, worst
No doubt.
But I can't do it. I don't want to put myself into that predicament because I think about that stuff because of the fact that nowadays you have to look at the pros and cons of everything, especially being a parent.
No doubt.
And right now, my biggest thing that I'm teaching them is together, because it's not enough people that's trying to figure out this together. Like this is your sister and your brother.
No doubt.
This is us.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Y'all understand? Family is not normal right now. So if y'all don't think about with each other and what we doing together, y'all ain't gonna be there for each other.
No doubt.
Because these are gonna be your best friends regardless. It's just how you grow up.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. That's heavy work. But yeah, you doing good though. It's good stuff, man. Like, I mean, a lot of times people don't want to come to stuff like this, but it's so necessary.
I mean, to be honest, for real, I'm more of a person. I like learning. That's a different thing about me. Me and Dave, we have our little talks. Cause I'm more into a lot of interacting, and I knew your shirt already too, so I didn't have to say anything. For real, but like for real, I'm a more of an observant person because of the fact is that there's so many things that you cannot be taught everything.
Right.
What's the saying? What is it? Far below is so. Is it? I'm saying it wrong. Let me say it right before I say it. But I'm going to get back with you when I do say it right. Because I don't want to say it wrong. It's either far below or Dave. Excuse me. I'm sorry. But, mainly the saying is basically you got to continue to have... keep learning things because everything is still not new. So
no doubt.
Everything is the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's just different. The year time and people just make it seem more harder the more years that go on.
Right. You dead right. You dead right. Yeah, so that's rock and roll time. You next week we rocking and rolling at the same time. Yep. 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. It might not be the whole 3 hours though.
Okay, that's at least I know.
Right.